Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Grand Finals! 2 teams have made it this far.
And only one victor comes out of this with 50% of the $200,000 plus prize pool, Dry Bear. And this is going to be one hell of a Smite match. We have TSM on one side coming in with a 1-game advantage out of the winner's bracket. That, of course, because they knocked Team Dignitas into the lower bracket where they battled their way back to the Grand Finals.
We're going to see some vengeance today, possibly, or maybe some more hurting from previous. We're going to bring up the team stats, of course, so you guys can see what's been happening so far and how the players have been doing. Now, it's been a long weekend. We have Friday, Saturday, this is Sunday. It all comes down to this. While the stats are being brought up, I want to remind you that since Team SoloMid came out of the upper bracket, they have 1 game up on Team Dignitas. So this is a best of 5 where Team SoloMid already has 1 game.
So let's take a look first here at Team Dignitas, player by player, go through a little bit about what we expect them to be really bringing to the table in this matchup against TSM. I think a good place to start for them has been their team comps. We've seen a lot of Apollo. We've seen a lot of Aphrodite, in fact. And I want to get your opinion on this, on the banning of Aphrodite. We heard your thoughts on the analyst desk, but bring us back up to speed.
So Aphrodite was picked a lot from Shadow King. In fact, we saw the highlight reel where Shadow King was just wiggling back and forth using Aphrodite. Now, in the first game that we watched Team Dignitas play, it really wasn't as effective, just punishable in the lane. But I think the big idea is that Cognitive was trying to use those big burst ultimates, team fight comps there, where Aphrodite kind of counters that with the ultimate. The immunity is really, really important here. So here's the overall statistics for Team Dignitas. You can see that Ra has been picked 14 times, 468 GPM. Now I chalk this up, I chalk this up all the way to just Anatoly and the fact that Ra has recently come back into the meta within the last month or so, and so hasn't been banned that much. And Anatoly usually picks up Ra. In fact, he favors Ra very heavily. Guan Yu, another big pick there, 12 times and 474 GPM. But you can see the win percentage is all around the same.
Yeah, you know, Team Dignitas, a team that generally speaking likes to draft the same type of gods, especially on this guy right here. Lass's top god pick is Thor, but all of that is basically kind of preloaded from the early kind of parts of the qualifying tournament. Saw Thor fall off a bit, but here in this tournament has been extremely effective with tier.
Yeah, you can see there on the screen, favorite god, Athena. In fact, he's only played Athena once so far, at least on the main stage anyway, a character that he brought into the meta by first trying it in the jungle. And, you know, taken aback by why is he playing Athena in the jungle, you see that the damage is absolutely unreal with that Defender of Olympus. And, of course, top god Thor. Moving on here, we're going to be seeing Zatman Steven there on the main screen. Now, we've seen a lot of Apollo play. In fact, he's played Apollo the most out of any other hunter, mainly because, you know, you see some preference towards other characters in the hunters. He likes his Apollo, and for good reason. You know, game 2 in that series we just watched, he was able to get the Titan because of Apollo's ultimate.
There's only really one stat on that screen that's going to give you an idea of how good Zatman is at this game. He has never lost a LAN event in Smite history.
That's right. That is now at stake for today.
Right.
If he loses today, that streak is gone, and he's fighting for it. Next up, look at that grin.
There he is.
Look at it.
The man, the legend himself, the destroyer. It's Anatoly, and we saw some spectacular Raw snipes in that last game. Anatoly, a player that travels well, I think, plays well at LAN events, and has always been a, not an innovator, I will say, in the solo lane, but definitely the kind of player that he gets into a groove with certain gods and becomes nearly unbeatable with them. Guan Yu, his favorite god on that graphic there, being a great example of that. We saw him playing that in the solo lane pretty much exclusively for some time.
You know, one thing I really like about Anatoly is that he's just not caught up in anything but the W. He really wants to get that win. You'll see him play very utilitarian in many aspects. There's the best right there, middle lane for Team Dignitas, playing Agni most often here. Favorite god Habwa, but Habwa is more of a controversial pick more recently, and he's been straying away from that, going towards Agni, mainly because we've seen other mids come in, Ra, Poseidon, especially Poseidon in more the European regions, and he's been sticking with Agni. It's been working.
Well, you know, I'll tell you a little story about the best and his favorite god, Habwa. So he used to just troll streamers and play Habwa against them for a long time before he was a pro, and it was actually Zatman that saw him in a casual game and said, you know what, I think you're good enough, and they started an old team called Procore Gaming, and since then have stuck together, picked up some other players, and now they're here as Team Dignitas.
I remember when PCG first picked up that Curse sponsorship, and it was so big for the scene. Here's Shadow Q, the Wiggle Master here. Of course, he's the reason why Aphrodite is even mentioned in this tournament. He's just picking that up time and time again. Top God Senu Kong, and Senu Kong always a great pick. And one of the best things about picking an off character like Aphrodite is that once it's banned out, and they've shifted their focus to that support, all of a sudden characters like Odin, Senu Kong, Guan Yu can now slip through because he's so proficient with a different god.
Yeah, you know what's a little bit interesting, I think, about the Aphrodite? You know, you kind of say that she is a pocket pick for them in kind of way. You know, it's a special tactic, if you will. But at the end of the day here, I think that they play her like part of their core gods. Sure. You know, they don't really play her as this is our special pick, because when she got banned out, we didn't see them reach really for any of those highly banned gods. They didn't draft the Odin, in fact, and it was available. They went ahead and went with their kind of normal core team. So I think Aphrodite just fits in well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the contenders coming out of the winner's bracket, it's Team SoloMid.
Give it up if you're a fan. Team SoloMid going up against Team Dignitas today, of course, hailing from European. In fact, most of these players are from different regions in Europe. They're kind of scattered about there, so it's great they were able to meet online. Of course, you can see all their mugs here. Very talented players here. Guan Yu, the top-picked character. Of course, Trix Tank. He likes that character a lot.
Very good, as you saw in the clips on that Guan Yu.
But let's look at this number here. Is that a 1-0-0?
Yeah, that's a 1 and 2 zeros driver. That means that they did not lose when they drafted Guan Yu throughout the qualifiers there. Another thing to take a look at, as a team, 1.7 KD.
You know, one thing as well, I was really excited that I was able to witness this, of course, you know, casting the European qualifiers every single weekend, is the fact that every single time for 3 weeks straight, if Youngbei and Trixtan got on her and Guan Yu, they got first blood in their lane every game. And it was amazing to watch because they're just working so well together. Favorite God Apollo, there's Youngbei up on the screen. There's Top God on her as well, as previously mentioned. Of course, 73% win with that character alone. 77% overall throughout the qualifiers. And man, he's such a good player.
Yeah, it really is. And Youngbei's been playing lights out in this tournament. A big part of the reason why TSM has been so successful, I think. Right. His on-her play has been really top-notch. We see Youngbei, when you think of on-her in Europe, you think of Smek and Youngbei, I think. Sure. Funball as well, in fact. I mean, they all play on her so well. But Youngbei in this tournament has certainly been the superior on her.
Yeah, I think throughout the qualifiers, on her was actually the second most picked god in Europe overall. And, you know, reason being is we got Youngbei. Reels also really loves on her, so that's really important. But, you know, looking at this player here, he really, I mean, going back to on her, PAX East, he was in the top 5 plays. The #1 play was him playing on her as well. So, you know, he's got a long history, of course. Copenhagen Wolves was his first sponsorship. Moving on to the Fire Giant stealer, the thief of today's tournament, Trix Tank. 81% win-loss throughout the qualifiers. Top God, Senu Kong, with 82% as well. 32 kills, 17 deaths, 129 assists. Wow.
One of the only Guardian support players that you'll see with a positive KD, in fact. Looking at like Shadow Q sitting about maybe 10 kills behind, 10 maybe or 15% of his total kills behind his deaths there. But you can just see how Trixtake likes to play the game. He's a bit safer, but also a little bit of a, you know, it's a calculated risk taker, I think is the right way to put it. Plays the game, not overextending, but will go in, as we saw, and look to make big plays. And here he is, the man himself, Lobster, coming in with a very strong Poseidon performance throughout this tournament.
Now, I remember when, you know, league system was introduced in Smite, I used to play against Lobster all the time, and he was terrifying. For the longest time, Agni and Lobster were synonymous. It was just the same thing. He was the character. He embodied it in real life, and devastating. I know he started bringing in Jung Kui. Of course, he's playing a lot of Poseidon recently. And, you know, Poseidon has always been written off as a character that just couldn't do much. And with a small buff recently, a lot of players are starting to pick him up. He's a little more efficient overall. And you can see here that he's just embodying that completely. 77% win throughout the qualifiers. Almost double kill to death, so a 2.0 KD there. 264 assists, which means he's very active, involving himself in team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Lobster is a key to victory for this team. If he can keep the mid lane even and get his Poseidon rolling, he does very well in the later stages of the mid game. Fred, the jungler for TSM here, been very, very potent on Chalk so far in this tournament.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen him really be the only player out of EU to successfully run the Jotun's Wrath Rush jungle, which they really seem to favor a lot on the Bastet and on the Chalk. But we've really seen only him transition into late game damage out of that start.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's so many plays you can make with Chalk, and you look at Chalk as a character and you're thinking, wow, this character is incredibly powerful. And he was a sleeper for a while. People didn't realize how strong he was, and then you never think about a character that's that strong to be still impressed. But when you give it to Cubo, you're still impressed with what he can do with it. I mean, of course, his ultimates are right on point. I've seen him interrupt dashes with his ultimate, just timing it properly, getting tons of kills, and the way he plays is so amazing. Bastet, his top god so far in the qualifiers, 7 picks. And, it's a little bit surprising because, it was Frostiak that really headlined the Bastet for the European region. But, he picked it up as well and pulling a lot of wins out. He's just a threat always.
Yeah, and you got to love that haircut, too.
There you go.
Coming, traveling across the seas to come here and play. And here is the man himself with the pentakill under his belt already in this tournament. The God Hunter. So here he is, favorite god, Apollo, as many of you noticed throughout the qualifier. Dry Bear, I'm going to let that one over to you as you did cast a lot of those games.
So as casters, for long weekends, we like to save our voices so we don't actually lose it. We can keep talking throughout the weekend.
Sure.
And, I was pacing myself, and then this guy, just get a good look at that mug on the screen, killed my voice on Friday. He slaughtered it. I was so excited. It filled my heart to see him actually pull up. And the greatest thing about his pentakill was that no one was trying to give it to him. This is a tournament, $200,000 on the line. No one tries to give you a penta for the sake of a penta. They needed the kill to win the game. In fact, it turned it around at that point. But,
absolutely. I
mean, he got the kill with an Apollo shot and a Zeus lightning bolt going over his shoulder, smacked it with the bat, and everything really, really worked for him. So, it's great to see. And another thing to look at, we see another 1-0 there at the bottom. Top God Ra picked 7 times. He wins every time he gets Ra. And, of course, you look at it across the way, Team Dignitas, Anatoly loves Ra as well. So, an interesting matchup.
Yeah, anytime you see 100% success rate on a single god, you know that player is fitting into the team really well. They're able to accommodate his play style. They're able to kind of work around that god pick and let him really shine. And I think that's maybe one of the strongest things about TSM and Dignitas. With Dignitas, it tends to be Zapman that you see them rally to, let him be aggressive, let him call the plays. On the other side with TSM, Game Hunter, they have faith that he's going to come into that solo lane after that amount of farm time that he requires to get online and really believe in him to carry the game.
For those of you out there that are old StarCraft fans, there's a phrase you might recognize, Goliath Online.
Yeah,
there's a new one now for Smite. It's Game Hunter Online, and you wait for that moment. You don't want it to happen. And, of course, I talked to Anatoly a little bit about this before the game, and he was mentioning that he's just not used to how aggressive Game Hunter can be. In the solo lane, and for those of you who play Smite in the solo lane a lot, you know that there are times where it's just a bit of a lull. You're just farming, trying not to die, and keeping that up. And, most solo laners, when they go up against a player like Game Hunter, is that he turns on the heat so quickly and gets the kill that you're almost surprised by. How does he do so much damage so quickly? And, I think there's a lot of adjustment that has to happen here, and I think he's been a fan favorite for quite some time, but there's a lot to look at overall between these two teams because they all have their strengths. And, obviously, the 2 best teams in the world because they made it here.
Yeah, and it's been a very, very tough path, I think, for Team Dignitas. TSM got to take quite a bit of the day off. Yesterday and early this morning as well. And so they've had a lot more time to prepare, I think, to Dignitas. Dignitas does come in with a little bit of, warm-up under their belts, but TSM's had the opportunity to prepare, actually, for this Dignitas match in a real way where Dignitas has to be thinking, look, we have to take it one step at a time. We got to be COG. We can't really look forward to the TSM game. So, I mean, do you think that that's going to have a big impact in this game, or do you think that Dignitas can just play it off the cuff really well?
There's a different strategy there for a lot of teams. Some teams need, when it comes down to tournament, best of threes, what is your strategy when you lose game 1 and go into game 2? Do you play aggressive? Do you play safe?
Sure.
Same thing goes for, when you come out of the lower bracket. The idea is either, some teams look at it as we played more games, so we're more warm, we're loose, we're playing very sharp. And some teams say, we kind of get exhausted. There's the endurance factor. We've been playing a lot of games where TSM had the day off yesterday, kind of just watching things happen. And so, there's a big strategy there. But as we know that Team Dignitas is, they're the the emotional team. They like to build off the crowd. They have the challenge, and when they're put under pressure, they play the best. So here's the bans coming through here. 4-team SoloMid. Nemesis and Odin gone. Very safe bans. The chalk is gone. You can't give it to Kivo.
Yeah, that's right. And they're actually going to take Sun Wukong out as well, make sure Tricks can't have that.
Sure.
Interestingly enough, I mean, but Guan Yu, as we saw, very potent for him as well. Taking a look over at Team Dignitas, thinking about their picks here, hovering over tier for now. Not surprised at all to see them lock, well, either of these gods, and as we see Geb being considered as well. I suspect that they are indeed going to go ahead and lock those in as they do. Tyr and Geb, the first two off the board for Dignitas. Zeus over on TSM going the way of Lobster.
You know, Zeus' first pick was a bit of 50-50, I think. I think it was 50% in their minds they wanted Zeus, and 50% they don't want the best to have Zeus. He's been playing Zeus very, very well, and Zeus can be very hit or miss. He's very powerful, but also very easily shut down. And the last series we watched, sending Zeus over to Dignitas, you know, up in the analyst stats, we were expecting it to go to Anatoly. He likes going to do more of Zeus in the solo lane. It ended up going to the best, and he killed it.
Yes.
Did so well. So anyway, this could go to TSM as, you know, a predictive pick. Guan Yu and Freya being locked in. This takes, not only does this give Freya to TSM, it takes it out of Lassus' hands.
I think that this is a, right now where we stand at this moment, TSM is winning this draft.
So far.
The Zeus pick in the mid lane is going to be very effective, and he's relatively safe if played properly, can be very effective in team fights. Guan Yu, a premier pick for Tricks Tank, also very, very strong when matched with pretty much any hunter due to his shred. And Freya, the damage output, I'm not sure if there's any other gods in the pool that can effectively match her. Dignitas, however, is going to be
baby comes out. There's a pop. This is 100% steal picks. Apollo away from Zapman. Of course, Freya away from Lassus. There's AMC across the way. Now, they did get Ra. Anatoly and Game Hunter both love Ra, but I think Game Hunter is pretty confident with his matchup versus Ra, especially in the early levels. If he can get some kind of kill or even push Anatoly back to the base, he'll be really comfortable with that. So we've got Geb and Tyr. Now, I gotta be really excited for a moment because in that game one, Lassus took Tyr in the jungle and turned that whole game around. His plays were amazing. There was one point they were about to lose a team fight. He blinked over a rock, got a double hit, and turned the whole team fight around. I mean, Tyr in the jungle there for Lassus is mind-blowing, and both these lineups here seem comfortable for Dignitas and TSM.
Yeah, I agree, but I got to be worried when you see Ra locked in as a solo laner for Dignitas and immediately snap pick Vamana.
He's comfortable.
I think that Game Hunter likes that matchup a lot. We saw him actually get a solo kill in the first time these two teams met up.
That's right.
That the Vamana was able to take down the Ra at about level 4, which generally speaking shouldn't happen.
You know, I talked to Anatoly specifically about that moment, and I asked him, and it's what I was referring to earlier, where he just was surprised with how aggressive Game Hunter was on Vamana. You know, generally doesn't happen too much. Of course, he got Solar Blessing with Ra, Divine Light, just the bane of melee characters. You hate being slowed by Ra, so
absolutely.
It's painful physically and mentally. But Anatoly was just kind of, you know, he was rocking it, going through, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, he's attacking me. That's adorable, Game Hunter. Go, Game Hunter! Game Hunter, stop! And then he was dead. I mean, it's just really surprising to him the amount of damage he was able to do. And I think he kind of went into today practicing, mentally preparing and saying, you know what, Game Hunter's aggressive, I know it, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, and you know, Game Hunter plays in a much different way than other Vamanas, buying boots often early with a creeping curse, getting ahead. But let's hold that thought as we are in game, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 in a best-of-5 finals. TSM up 1-0 over Team Dignitas. Welcome to the grand finals here live from Atlanta. Let's go ahead and introduce your teams. They are the blue team fighting out of the bottom side of your minimap, the left side of your spectator UI, and the order team. They are Team SoloMid. It's going to be Tricks Tank matching up with Young Bae in the duo lane as Guan Yu and Apollo. Vamana in the solo lane being played by the Pentakill Master. Game Hunter in the mid lane as Lobster as the Zeus. And Q-Vo Fred in the jungle as Freya.
They have to go through Team Dignitas. If you're a fan, give it up in chat as well as in the crowd. Team Dignitas coming out here versus Team SoloMid. Anatoly playing Ra, the best on Augie right down the center. Lassus in the jungle with Tyr. Zapman, he's playing Muzen Cobb. Shadow Q, he's got the Rockmaster Geb. Now you can see a pretty standard setup here, although you do see Game Hunter kind of invading a little bit, just seeing if he can spot out what's going to happen. We saw Dignitas in the cognitive matchup, and you got to know that TSM was watching. They did a little bit of weird, they skipped movement speed. they skipped blue. They went into lane, cleared it out, and then came back and got blue. It's a little bit weird. Now, what they were trying to do was deny a full wave of experience, but it just did not work. And you can see the Game Hunter, he was looking for it.
Young Bae and Zapman both rushing that Heartseeker right away. Young Bae is sitting on the sprint where Zapman is electing for a little bit more regen. Besides that, fairly standard builds around the map. I do want to point out, however, Anatoly going Vampiric Shroud right into Heavenly Agility. Already at rank 3 there, and that, of course, to deal with the Game Hunter. A very, I think counter-style pick there. He's saying, okay, look, I died to this before. It ain't going to happen again.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing. I mean, he was around just closer to his tower, but around the mid lane area of the solo lane, and he just got hit by the creeping curse, the slow on top, it was too much damage, and he's thinking, okay, I'm going to rush Heavenly Agility. Not only am I going to have the slow immunity, so the creeping curse won't work, the Umbrella Ring won't work either to slow me down, then I'll be able to get back to my tower. But there's also the benefit that, a little bit shorter cooldown, but also he's got healing increased by 25% for the duration, so the Solar Blessing will help him a lot. And I talked to him, he's saying, I need to be able to sit in my Solar Blessing as long as possible because the damage is going to be mitigated, and of course the melee and ranged minions will take over and assist me as he's jumping on top of me and try to use his aggression against him.
Yeah, I mean, the Heavenly Agility, I don't want to take a guess at the numbers, but it's extremely efficient in terms of the magical power equivalent that you get out of that heal, right? A 25% increase in the healing is, can be equated to a certain amount of magical power, probably somewhere between 40 and 60 maybe in terms of the scaling that Solar Blessing actually has. And that's really, really important in the early levels of the game where you're punching above your weight, so to speak, with that heal.
Yeah, that's maybe 2 basic attacks, 3 basic attacks, and minions involved. And it makes a really, really big difference. We're going to go ahead and look at Trixtank starting with a multi-potion. Of course, this is just for the wards. He likes that early ward placed down. You can see them already actually on either side of the map. They've got one in front of the mid camps on the left side towards the Gold Fury, and then one near the transition between the Fire Giant, just to catch any rotations coming through. Lass is going to walk through. So it looks like we're going to be starting this game off right. You see Game Hunter with his little bat. Is that Nabil or Game Hunter?
Yeah, like I was saying in the first set we had today, I can't look at this skin the same way, I don't think, anymore.
Solo lane now started up here. The blue buff a little bit late for Team SoloMid. Looks like Lass is on his way. They're going to clear the way very quickly. There's the Fearless Cleave combination. Left side, Trixtank's rolling out here, trying to be forced out of his lane completely as Shadow Q rolls into the wall. Rotation from Lobster. Looks like no follow-up. There goes the Tower Assault on top, some Swarm, a few damage back and forth. Oh, 3 charge, detonate. Do we have First Blood? The hit, and Trixtank gets it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Team SoloMid, they find the first kill of the game onto Shadow Q's Geb. That's really, really good news because Geb, a god that can be extremely potent as a support, but if you keep him down, and we've seen this already in the tournament, can become very, very easy to continually kill. Take a look at the right side lane now, where Game Hunter's in some trouble. Heavenly Agility used. They're going deep. Lassus and Anatoly combined for a kill onto the baby. I
love this so much. This is exactly what the series was before. 1 kill, 1 kill, 1 kill, 1 kill. Trent kill, 1 kill. Here we're here. I mean, honestly, this is exactly what we expected. That they're so evenly matched that when there's a kill on one side, when they're moving their players over to get that kill, there's a weak spot, and they're going to capitalize on it right there. And, Anatoly probably had this in his IDs, thinking Game Hunter is a big part of Team SoloMid's early and late game. Not so much the mid, but the control is really there. And so if we can shut him down early, that's going to be really important. But I do want to talk about the fact that Shadow Q was first blooded here for Team Dignitas. In fact, this happened twice now, once in the Cognitive series before, and again here. He tends to run away from his tower and away from his teammates when he's in trouble.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think you're right. Shadow Q likes to, I think, once he knows that he's likely to die, he wants to make sure, hold that thought. In the mid lane here, we have the detonate coming out as the mid camps fall. 3 stacks on both. Best in trouble underneath the tower. One more auto second to do it. Can't be found by Trixtank. Barely escaping there are the Best and Lassus, but at this stage in the game, 2.5 minutes in, to send both of those gods back decreases the XP and gold farm really, really tremendously. Like, they're going to be a level behind their respective counterparts on TSM.
Yeah, forced back early. I see a lot of people saying, oh, they didn't die, so it's not a win. It's definitely a win if they go home early, and now they're going to be behind here. Trixtank actually using this opportunity to invade the enemy jungle. Going to find Lassus here by himself mid lane. There is Shadow Q rotating through as well, looking for it. The knock, not going to do anything. The shockwave. Trixtank, where's he going to go? Knocked up. The cleave. One more shot. Trixtank goes down.
Best secures that kill with a rotation out of the mid lane. Smart stuff. Lassus actually miss probably what he was going for there with the Blink Fearless chain, but they're able to do it anyway. So many spells at Tier's disposal there. Can just dump them all out. Of course, it's very mana intensive, but to secure a kill, absolutely worth.
So both Heartseekers done on the Hunter, Zapman, and Youngbei completed with those. Sprint 2 on Youngbei, Sprint 1 on Zapman. Going back to lane to stack that up as quickly as they can, getting as much damage stacked up before any big rotations come out. We see the slap fight go down on the right side, and honestly, it seems like Anatoly has the upper hand. This is a completely different solo lane than we saw in the last set.
Yeah, you know, the thing here that we're looking at in this solo lane is that Anatoly has all of the lane momentum. Game Hunter is, you know, doing fine. His farm is fine. He's obviously a bit behind the Ra to the tune of about 500 gold, but the momentum has been really, really big for Anatoly. And I think that as Ra continues to get a bit further ahead of the Vamana, you'll start seeing him sniping down the waves and looking to rotate a bit and put some pressure around the map.
Mid lane Zeus, Guan Yu ultimate left side, looking for Zapman, sprint activation, surrounded this low, coming from above, Youngbei gets the dunk, Zapman goes down.
So actually a pretty routine and easy kill there, picked up by TSM.
Oh, the solo tower.
Yeah, that's right. Look how much damage Anatoly did there. He actually sniped the last wave coming in, pushed it right up because he noticed Game Hunter had gone back, threw in the auto attacks. It's also important to note after the the second blood there, he sat and reined in about maybe 10 to 12 extra auto attacks. Normally a player might go back, play safe, but the warding's sufficient enough for him to stay in, and that leads to this tower being now in peril of going down in the first 5 minutes.
So Game Hunter is now running a intensive care unit over here on the right side of the map. This tower is about a sneeze away from going down here, and again, a very different feel than it was prior. The blue buff was actually stolen away on the left side by Kivo Fred, so Dignitas now losing their blue buff on the left side of the map. Zapman, after being killed, is now losing his mana regeneration to control the lane even more. Basic attacks coming through. Anatoly, he wants that tower, but I respect his patience.
On the right side, though, Last is going to be able to counter jungle both the blue and the red buff from TSM, so that bit of experience they missed coming right back their way.
Attempted again to the left side, not going to be successful. There goes the rollout from Shadowq. Zapman now under pressure, looking for some kills. Now, you know, going into this, I got to assume that Dignitas was trying to make their long lane a little bit more respectable. Oh, right tower. Does Anatoly have it? The tower dropping so low. He's body blocking the shots. It goes down.
Wow, 5-minute, 48-second tower for Team Dignitas here in the grand finals. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, they are down 1-0 as they're coming out of the loser's bracket, and this is a best of 5, so still a lot of Smite ahead of us.
Oh, absolutely. A possibility of 4 more games. And left side, Tricks tank. There goes the stun possibility on top. Youngbei getting low. He's trying to get the kill, not going to get Zapman. Goes down again.
Wow, Zapman being handled very, very nicely here by TSM. You saw him look to turn and burn there, knew that he was going to die. Youngbei does a nice job of wiggling, not just standing in place and throwing in auto attacks. Allows him to secure that kill safely, and also allows Youngbei some time to go back and pick up his next items, which looks like he's going to be foregoing boots and moving directly into Draining Blade.
You know, honestly, if you're Zapman right now, you're looking to finish those sprint, which he just did, but he's got to get something like Purification Beats. He can't have the threat of CC looming over his head, and maybe even max out. They need him for late game. They cannot be waiting for him to catch his stride when they're ganking him so much. And honestly, they're at the point now where just Trickstank and Youngbei is enough. You can see Trickstank already hanging on the left side of the map, trying to shut him down hard. Zapman currently the least farmed in the game, but he is tied for Game Hunter.
That's right, yeah. So, you know, I mean, if one player, really both impact players in each team being shut down.
That's right.
You know, certainly fan favorite players and certainly very, very strong players in their own right. Looking around the map, ladies and gentlemen, there is not a lot of buffs remaining as Freya is cleaning up that backside orange now. Lass is showing himself in the mid lane, rotating back across, and you know, once again, oh no, he's going to blink back in after that Agni Bomb stun. They're going to have a lot of damage, and down goes Lobster. That looked too easy.
Textbook. That was textbook right there. Blink, Tier Fearless, right into the best, following up with a Flame Wave. Didn't even need to use all his rain fires. That's all the damage they needed, and that's exactly what they needed to get back in this game. Mid tower dropping low, up in there, Kivo Fred doing some damage on the best. Stone Shield prevents almost all of the Fearless. Right when he lands, Last is going to kill on Kivo Fred, jumping away. Apollo from above, landing down, looking for a kill here, but he's got nothing. Trickstank dropping low, forced out by Zapman. The best goes down to Youngbei, killing spree for Youngbei. The shot! The shot!
What a snipe!
That Ra.
Well, TSM does successfully guard their mid lane, but not before giving up a big morale-crushing play to Anatoly there, and a lot of pressure applied and a lot of rotations forced. Another smart thing to point out in that team fight, Lassus bails immediately after using his Fearless Chain, uses Lawbringer over the wall, goes and starts farming the solo lane. Very, very smart stuff, and I like that adjustment by Team Dignitas in their last couple games.
Yeah, no, they have that right side tower down, and of course, looking for that mid tower, and Dignitas right now, they have a lead. 1,600 gold as well as 2,000 experience. And really, it comes out of that tower. That 1,000 gold per tower, of course, you can see that would bring it down to about 500 gold difference. But they're keeping the lead alive by pressuring the towers one by one. Now this mid tower is very weak. Oh, Trickstank surrounded here. There's a stun on top. There goes the dash. The flame comes out, and Trickstank goes down again.
You know, it's a very, very tough proposition for TSM now to really try to exert any map control through the early parts of this game. As we approach 9, nearly 10 minutes elapsed, the towers have fallen in the solo lane and mid lane's quite low. Yeah, look at the right lane here. Anatoly gonna be able to heal up just fine. Game Hunter knows he is not powerful enough yet to dive that tower, but if Dignitas forces fights at the objective, specifically the Gold Fury, they can always bait that, rotate a player around, take that mid tower, and then disengage and look to reset. And it'll come out quite a bit ahead of TSM.
That mid tower very weak indeed, and they can go grab that as soon as they get an opportunity. But I want to point out how much damage Game Hunter was able to do to Anatoly there with just Warrior Top B. He dropped him from about 100% down to 20% very, very quickly, and even lower on the last shot of Umbrella Rain down to about 10%. So a very quick clear for Game Hunter. And even though he does actually have the Aegis Pendant on Anatoly, he's going to be careful about the rotation once he pops the Colossal Fury on Vamana and follows him through. Mid lane possibility of gank. Nope. Good zone there from the best, forcing Cubo back.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's something that we highlighted the last game that Dignitas played earlier this morning against COG, is at best probably the best in the world at harassing players trying to rotate into the mid lane.
Yeah, I remember watching him on Hobble all the time, and as the jungler would rotate, they just take a free water spout. They just splash in the face, refresh them as they go on their merry way, and that's, he's aware, but is he aware of Trickstank behind him right now? The horse, Warhorse, Trickstank, doesn't go down, Tower Assault there, a good flank, but they don't want to follow up. Fearless!
Lassus always in the right spot at the right time. It's a killing spree for the captain, Lassus!
Lassus gets it. Oh, they're Cataclysm in the mid lane looking for Lobster. Purification beats immediately. He had no way of knowing what was following up there. The banish from over the wall going to find Lassus, but his tower is under pressure. Their support is gone right now. A full wave coming through. Does Dig want this, or do they want the Gold Fury? Pushed up to his tower on the left side is Youngbei. Dig is hitting that momentum stride. We've seen them hit very early.
Yeah, the thing here that's going well for Dignitas is that they're finding, hold that thought, is being aggressed on now is Cuba Fred. They're going to force out that Valkyrie's Discretion Lawbringer over the top to get them there. But, as they look to, aggress the enemy jungle here, does Dignitas, just more and more waves being pushed into the mid lane and making more room for Zapman to come back from that early first blood.
The tower is getting lower and lower in the mid lane. It's more gold for Team Dignitas. The Gold Fury is available, but no one able to take it just yet. I like the very slow process that the Team Dignitas is taking here. There's the tower by Minions. Shout out to Roman Ranged.
Roman Ranged, OP, but that does grow our gold lead for Team Dignitas to 3,200 gold, experiencing just under 4,500. It's a pretty nice lead they built themselves. If they find a Gold Fury here after maybe a 1 or 2 player kill, Dignitas will be very far ahead in this game.
Oh yeah, they're looking for that Gold Fury is refreshable, of course, and they're just getting that big one. There's Apollo singing his heart out on the left side, as of course Zapman and Shadowcube putting pressure down on him. His ultimate is available. Some shots forced to cancel his back, actually a little bit inefficient usage of time. Oh, there's Lassus in the jungle, slowed by Freya. Has his ultimate available? Oh, he does not have his ultimate. Fearless there goes on Game Hunter. He's gonna get the kill!
Wow!
How
Lassus
does he do it?
And then blinks away from the damage, and they've made Zeus being played by Lobster rotate all the way across just to try to save their Vamana, but it seems like Game Hunter's been effectively shut down through this early game, which is great news if you're a Dignitas fan. Lassus as well, playing great in this game. 4 kills, uncontested, and already has the Jotun's Wrath finished pre-15 minutes. And looking at, of course, also another 650 gold in hand, which means that he can build into a tank item and probably still hit his 4th item, the damage item, at the same time that it's going to take the enemy jungler Cuba Fred to come online.
We see Zapman picking up tier 1 purification beads. Going to be safe from that tank. shot from Trickstank that's, of course, that stun at the end of the cavalry charge and really doesn't want to get caught out anymore. Now he's actually a little bit behind Youngbei, but only just about 200 gold. There goes the left side, some shots going down at Trickstank, forcing him away. Damage buff taken on the right side of the map. Now look at the graph, 3,700 gold and climbing for Team Dignitas. Gold Fury is available. Trickstank, he's coming over to ward. He doesn't want to lose this objective. Now the next objective loss is going to be very important for both teams here, and TSM, they can't lose it.
Looking over back to the solo lane where Game Hunter and Anatoly continue to go head-to-head and spar, and you can just see exactly how this lane goes. Anatoly able to shove it up right up to that tier 2 tower easily, and then he rotates over to about the Fire Giant and just evaluates, susses out the situation, and makes a choice, and sometimes he's able to make it over there for the snipe and look for him here. He's going to come and try to take this blue buff from Game Hunter. Game Hunter knows the case, and the snipe takes it down. Anatoly with a cheeky play.
Oh, man, but it's such a big steal as well. Considering the fact that Game Hunter needs everything he can get. He lost the golden experience as well as the blue buff duration, so that's a big, not a big loss, but certainly a noticeable loss for him. Look at the damage done. Topping the charge is going to be Anatoly, and last is no surprise there. Kicking the game off right with that solo lane, and since they got so many kills and so many towers early on, so big, dash in the mid lane as the best gets surrounded there. There's the chain lightning on top, up in the air. Stone Shield buys time. The best survives.
Oh, that's missing that fearless chain. In comes Trickstank in the backside. Best in some trouble. There's a Zeus ultimate out. Youngbei crashes in. They clean up. The best for the fight continues on. Over the top comes last. The Game Hunter finding kills now on the Zab, and this fight is going all TSM. No more fearless chain. There it is. It's a 4-man fearless. Lobster in trouble. Down goes us in a rampage. And he's going to make it out of here. Yeah, maybe going to turn and fight. Lassus making time for his cooldowns. He wants to find blood. There's the chain on the Game Hunter. They know that they can take it. Snipe coming through. Barely missing there. Trickstank in some trouble, though. Beam over the top. Totally not going to try to chase that one down. Dry Bear, but Dignitas did a very nice job of trying to maybe get a little bit more out of that, but it was safe, it felt like, the whole time.
You know, there's a lot of things in life that I feel like people should do. You know, you shouldn't put your finger in the wall socket, shouldn't drop anything electrical in the water, you know, you probably shouldn't drink too much tequila at night, but I think you also shouldn't give too much gold to Tyr early on. He's so durable. Guard stance, cleave, healing him right back up. Of course, he's got a lot of damage and control, the ultimate for a large amount of mobility, and really, you know, when he got in the backline there, he was comfortable. He was completely comfortable in the backline. You just cannot have that. It seemed like TSM had a turnaround, but Tyr is a driving force.
And he's going to be building into that shifter shield as well here, as you notice, picking up that round shield. Most likely to pick up, we know Lassus favors that item very, very heavily. Looks like Dignitas is going to be looking for the Gold Fury here. It's been spotted by TSM, but Lassus just, as you mentioned, so tanky in the front line. They're going to actually be forced back now as the ultimates come out, but a lot used by TSM here, and they don't have any follow-up. They can only really put damage into Shadow Q, and the bombs are ripping through Lobster. Trickstank, down you go, son. And now the boys from Dignitas are going to rally over to this Gold Fury, and there's not much that TSM can do about this.
5 versus 3 here in front of the Gold Fury. Now, Game Hunter did get a tower on the right side of the map. It's a little bit of gold, but it's kind of like an empty consolation considering the fact they just lost their support player and a Gold Fury mid lane. Looking for Cubo. Lassus, can he get deep enough? Up into the air. Cataclysm not available. Shockwave might be enough. Cubo in a lot of trouble. Going for it. Team Dignitas wants to get killed. There goes Cubo.
Game Hunter looking at a tier 2 over on the right side. Youngbei coming in as well, but it's going to be defensive. They're happy, it looks like, as TSM to trade that tier 2 with Dignitas. And, you know, they lose a Gold Fury, they lose their jungler, but the Ray of Hope, Game Hunter takes 2 towers, and that is a god that they need to get going quickly. It's a lot of farm now for that Vamana.
Oh, there goes the, great reaction from Game Hunter, buying some time, turning around actually by himself, needs to get out of dodge, going back again, very interesting choice there. Heavenly Agility, Fearless, Fist of the Gods, knock up, going for Game Hunter, he needs to go the path, there's the slow, getting low, Boswell buff, dashes right through Lassus on the backside, now trying to disengage, flame not gonna, ultimate from Anatoly, he's got the Stone Shield, trying to disengage, Trickstank going through, the best cannot get out, there goes the kill for Team SoloMid, Lobster looking for Lassus, the detonate, it gets another kill, a 2-0 exchange for Team SoloMid.
No, they're not done just yet. Another detonate. No, they are done just yet, Dry Bear. But Lobster's play there, phenomenal. Great timing on the rotation. places his spells in all the right spots. They save Game Hunter, most importantly, and they pick up a kill on the Lassus, his first of the game.
No, Game Hunter playing that RPG solo lane on the right side of the map, clearing both the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower. He stuck to it because Dignitas did not choose to retreat. He was basically forcing them to back. Now, of course, he did end up surviving. They got 2 kills covered. So that was a great play. Not only did he get the zone and the goal, but he also forced a poor rotation from Dignitas, even the gold out just a bit. In fact, right now, 1,200 gold apart as well as 4,100 experience. Now, the experience is vastly in favor of Dignitas right now, but at the same time, they're clearing the gold gap. We might have an even game soon.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those bars trending all the way up. I mean, it's looking very good for TSM after a rocky start there through the first 15 minutes, which is kind of curious considering that normally you look at Dignitas as the team that struggles more in the earlier stages of the game. This game, they've been kind of just rolling ahead.
Yeah, so Wardstone being picked up by the best. Now we do actually see Warlock Sash being picked up yet again by Anatoly. Again, I ended up talking to him about this a little bit to see what his opinion was. And his goal here is basically just to be as annoying as possible. He wants to be a little annoying bug. Of course, he's being as tanky as he can, getting close, using Divine Light to slow everyone down, get everyone then out of the way, and of course, putting that Solar Blessing down to help his team stay alive. There's the Blink, Lobster, Purification, Beast, there's a follow-up to the guard stands clean, Bomb real bump, Lobster gets stunned, Bomb again, Blinks away somehow, gets out of that one. Stone Shield on last. They're not done yet. Looking for Trix Tank. Cubo's in the area, but they might disengage Apollo. Youngbay looking for the best, not gonna find it. Game Hunter comes to rotation, and Anatoly does have an ultimate available. He wants to go for this snipe. There goes the knock-up. Game Hunter rotating around, sprint activation there, trying to make sure he doesn't get caught too much, but this is a big team fight opportunity.
Now Dignitas looks like they are perfectly happy to group and pressure down this mid lane. Lassus now splitting off, Zapman in the front lines, throwing out the damage, looking for the auto attacks, but he's not as built up as he once was. Trix Tank has enough of it. He's going to charge in with the cavalry, force him to run through the flames. That's not to find anything. That's a Guan Yu ultimate miss. Trix Tank in some trouble. Anatoly going to try to chase him down. Snipe. Oh, juke. Nicely there by Trix. Lassus now the one in some trouble as he tries to find Lobster in the backlines, but taking a lot of burst. Game Hunter sticking to Geb. Bay finds a rampage on Lassus of his own. Drybear, this is looking like TSM's team fight.
Flame Wave coming out there from the best. They're stuck in a tower. Anatoly is in the air. The snipe didn't land on that one, so of course Game Hunter able to escape, and a great rotation. Now, honestly, Trix Tank got a good disengage. I gotta give credit to Dignitas for their reaction to the cavalry charge from Trix Tank, popping heavily agility and dashing away, outranging it to force him to act, end early, and then of course turning around and trying to get the kill on him. Just weren't able to do it with that conviction, healing so very much after he takes that amount of damage. But I'm surprised that ended the way that it did, and I think you can really see that we are in the grand finals when somehow, some way, after this start, 158 gold separate these two teams, 12-10.
Yeah, unbelievable that TSM has done such quick work of battling back. They've got Game Hunter up to speed now, matched for the top level in the game. Just about 500-600 gold behind the top farmers over on Team Dignitas. They picked up a couple kills on the Lassus, who was really starting to run away, and quietly they've gotten Youngbay up to a 5-0.
Yeah, Youngbay has been farming non-stop. He's level 18, which is tied for the highest in the game. 10,000 gold. He's the third to cross that threshold, and he's staying so heavy. And I think the biggest thing about this is, for those of you watching the tournament for every single second, Team SoloMid in their set 2 days ago, they were heavy late game. In fact, a lot of times they end up losing the early game, coming back late, and killing everyone, and possibly even all their extended family, because they're just so great when they get their items and pulling it together. There goes initiation on Cubo. Damage is insane right now. Slow from the pulse. Game Hunter rotates over as well. Trix Tank is going to find Shadow Q, but the support tanks are not going to have an engagement there.
Gold Fury has just respawned as we approach the 22-minute mark in this game. 22 kills already on the board. Under 300 gold separating these teams. It is truly a nail biter, and you got to think that winning the first game for TSM would be huge. It puts them at tournament point for the next matchup.
That's right.
For Dignitas, it allows them to draw even. So I think that at the end of the day, the most important thing here is that Dignitas is able to get their head back into this game. They had the lead, they lost it. They got to keep their composure so that they don't go down 2 games in this set which I think becomes very difficult to battle back from.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, watching bigger sets like best of sevens, when you go to the point where it's match point and play so many, it's difficult. Fearless Cubo in trouble. Dignitas gets the kill. Cubo, Trickstay's got his horse, his trusty steed. Gonna take him out of battle and then right back into it. Lobster, stun, bomb, bomb, bomb. Only one of them gonna hit. There's a flame wave coming out on Lobster. He's gonna disengage. Zatman hoppers through the hive. They're going Searing Pain, not gonna land. The honey, the rollout, the shockwave, the blink keeps him safe for the time being. Game Hunter back to the tower, but Dignitas, they put him in a corner.
I do want to point out the casual sidestep there by Lobster on that retreat to avoid the Searing Pain. He just knew Anatoly was waiting for it. But a tier 2 in the mid falls for Team Dignitas, giving him back a bit of a gold lead, but it's going to result in likely also a Gold Fury, at least the attempt here. This could, once again, you know, kind of give them back that lead that TSM had worked so hard to chip away at.
Team SoloMid know about it. Youngbei up in the air. Youngbei, will he go in after the fact? He will! Going on the Zapman, knock him back now, forcing him to disengage here as Anatoly is in the air. There goes the Celestial Beam, pushing him out of the fight. Divine Light just out of range. No slot opportunity there, so of course, Youngbei will get out just fine, but the Gold Fury did end up going to Team Dignitas for free there. Amazing.
Look at the warding coming out from Team Dignitas.
Amazing.
I mean, they've just lit this map up really, really, really well, and they're able to catch these rotations, and it was very smart, right? After that last kind of engagement, they said, okay, we took the tier 2, let's spread wards out all over the map, we'll back, and we'll react to their next move.
Yeah, it looks like pepperoni pizza on the map right now with all those red dots everywhere. Now, we are seeing some reaction from Trickstang, putting wards all over near the same amount. But, you know, when you're limited on gold and you're leading behind the enemy team, as a support, you have to make a lot of tough decisions. Do I buy sentry wards? Do I buy a lot of regular wards? Do I ward in specific spots, or do I try to cover the map? And, you know, the biggest thing about being behind is you don't have map control, so you can't defend wards as easily. You have to put them in spots that are on as common. And so he's trying to defend the objectives, but Gold Fury is going to be down for quite some time. Fire Giant is available right now, but the advantage is still in Dignitas' hands.
I got to tell you, man, taking a look here at, you know, one thing I do want to point out is that Smite is a game where everybody wards. Look at the consumables now. The range carries have them. The junglers have them, the supports all have them. Very, very, very different than I think what you see in other MOBAs. I mean, so if you want to take something home for the grand finals here today, ward in your own games. Doesn't matter what your role is.
Yeah, wards win games, and everyone really that's on the stage right now understands that. They're all focusing up on the vision. There goes the mid-camp startup from Dignitas, and they have control of pretty much everything right now, and TSM is struggling to get that foothold. Now, they're still on the map. They have that presence. Left tower now being pressured there. Stone Shield will keep Zapman free and clear to start hitting those. You don't want to stack that up too much there in case someone blinks in or tries to grab him out of his own little world. We do have a rotation come out mid lane. We see Last is trying to go for his Lobster, dropping him low. There goes some damage out, forcing him home. Again, left side now with Freya up in the air, trying to find Zapman as well. Game Hunter surrounded, stun. Big Baby comes out, looking for Last, but he gets out with that movement speed buff.
Wow, yeah, I mean, they bait out a couple of big spells there.
Amazing.
I mean, you have 2 ultimates used in that last engagement. Game Hunter and Cubo Fred both out. Most importantly, probably Cubo Fred. If they find him again, it's almost guaranteed to be a kill because Freya, outside of the ultimate, has basically no escapes. Last is just waiting on this blink to come back online, or the Lawbringer over the wall. Whichever comes first, it feels like right now, being zoned out by Game Hunter. Game Hunter, however, misses that Umbrella Ring. Nice footsies there by Lassus. Hold that thought. Trickstang coming in just off the side of the mid tower. Finding a stun on the 2. It's going to be counter-initiated by Best. Nicely going to zone them right back out.
Oh, a very risky situation here for both teams. Lobster waiting in the area. Ultimate is available if they want to go for it. Tower goes for free. Honey's on the ground. Geb looking for that Cataclysm, of course. Last's blink should be coming off in just a few seconds here, looking for that next victim to blink behind.
Cataclysm's down.
No, it blinked for tier.
Oh, yeah. Wait
just
for
coming
tier
back
to
here.
come back online, but they don't have the Geb Cataclysm in this team.
Oh, sure.
So they can't initiate into this tower that well. A beautiful 2-man banish. The last is counter-initiates on a Trickstang perfectly. They get him locked down. The Stinger seals the kill for Zapman, but he's stuck out in the Lightning Storm. Down will fall to Cubo Fred Drybear as Dignitas tries to escape.
He just bent it, dashing away. There's ultimate up to the Freya. The damage coming out on Anatoly. He's going to go down, or will he? There's the tug for Youngbei. TSM turning this around for the time being. Bomb from Ogni, the damage from Game Hunter. Another kill for Team SoloMid. ShadowQ, he's surrounded. He's being shot by Apollo. He goes down as well. Unstoppable by Youngbei, looking for Lassus. Where's he gonna go? He's surrounded here, going into the darkness behind enemy lines. Team SoloMid wants his kill so desperately. There goes the moves from Youngbei to follow up here. A little bit of mana for Lassus. Got enough for one more Fearless. There's it. Out of mana, surrounded by enemy minions. He's gonna get away from this, or will he? He's running as fast as he can. He's making his shoes all the way away. Lassus, can he get away from this gank? The blink. He survives.
Wow, bought so much time there for his team. That was definitely a mid tower, easily securable by TSM. A little bit of frustration on their side, chasing that kill down.
Yep. You know, honestly, you never want to chase as far as that. Now, they really wanted to get him, and I'm sure they thought they could grab him up, but, you know, I don't think they realized that Greater Blink was coming off. Oh. Team SoloMid.
Dignitas starting to make their way out of the base. Lassus has finished the Magi's blessing, but the Fire Giant is already starting to fall. This is going to be a free Fire Giant. 28 minutes into the game. Team SoloMid.
How did they do this? It's so specific. And no, we were just talking about how they didn't capitalize on that game before. They needed to go do something with their time instead of chasing Lassus all around. I know he's pretty, but we can't spend all our time chasing him. We have to do something else there, and that's what they needed to do. They got Fire Giant, and as long as they have the Fire Giant buff, in fact, they are more efficient in team fights. 2,200 gold between the two teams, and they have the Fire Giant buff. They are effectively able to fight Dignitas in open field.
And they have a great timing as well with that. Hasten Fatalis just finished on Game Hunter's Ramana. Chin size up and running of both Youngbei and the Game Hunter. So you're looking at basically these items being very strong basically right now. Around the 30-minute mark, I think is where Chin size really peaks. And now TSM can just roll down the mid lane as you see here. They're ignoring the Gold Fury for now. They're going to fight straight down the mid lane until Dignitas faces them back. Lassus gets the Fearless Chain, but is beads out of by both players. Awkward Cataclysm there, unable to be followed up on this Trick Tank, wreaking havoc in the back lines. We haven't seen him be too effective in setting up kills, but he's been great in the team fights. Ogni Bomb's doing a lot. Cubo Fred now taking to the skies, but only ShadowQ going to be easily secured by TSM.
Mid Phoenix now exposed here. TSM going in deep. Dig rallying to try and take this away from TSM. They want the Phoenix. They're gonna get it. Phoenix goes down. Game Hunter in trouble. Lassus, Fearless on top, looking for Lobster. Could it be a turnaround? This ultimate from Raw is gonna miss their best. Force back the shots. Back into the base somehow, some way. They're still alive, but so is TSM.
Oh, Game Hunter so low. Anatoly hit the Celestial Beam to the wall. Picks him up with the flashbang, but going down in the base there. The best and Zapman will fall. 3 members down for Team Dignitas. 2 members down for Team SoloMid, but a lot given away there with that mid Phoenix and Dry Bear. 1,000 gold in favor of Team SoloMid. They've battled this one all the way back.
Oh, Fearless Youngbei forced back. Lassus looking for something. There is the Celestial Beam from Anatoly. They're grouping up. They don't want to get too gritty here, but if Trick Tank's exposing himself, the Fire Giant buff will last a little bit longer, a few more minutes. Searing Pain's going to hit. Celestial Beam. Lassus gets Youngbei. Looking for Trick Tank. Will he find it? Damage is insane right now. There goes the chain lightning. The dunk from on top. There's a detonate. Anatoly looking for it. Can't find it. Now turn on Lassus getting very, very low. ShadowQ from the flank. The blink comes out. ShadowQ's out of position.
Wow, Lassus, unbelievable that he survived that there. Makes it
and got the kill.
Finds the kill. I mean, great communication. Anatoly saying, we're going, we're going, we're going. We're going to snipe. Hits it. Hits Youngbei. I think that was a target they were trying to hit as well. Then goes ahead and ignores the rest. Smacks Youngbei with the Fearless. Lobster's rotation. Finds a chain landing on 2 in the jungle, which generally speaking is a death sentence. Lassus makes a nice play there, uses Lawbringer. No detonate comes out from Lobster, buys himself a little time, lets his blue stance 2 come back off cooldown, power cleaves the minions, heals up, survives the detonate.
You know, that's why Tyr is so useful if you get any kind of farm on top of him, because he can deal so much damage. He's highly mobile, 2 dashes, and of course Lawbringer, the jump, it does a lot of damage and massive AoE, but the sustain is so powerful from guard stance. He's able to keep himself alive after getting so aggressive. Now, it's exactly what we saw in the set with Cognitive Gaming. Left side looking for ShadowQ, not going to find it. Now, we're looking at 1,200 gold back in favor of Team Dignitas, and it's going to be sitting there for a little bit until his tower goes down on the left side. Towers are relatively even. Initiation coming out there. There's the Honey. Zapman looking for some damage on Trick Tank. The slow from Game Hunter's not going to land, and then be forced to disengage away from this tower. Gold Fury is not going to respawn anytime soon, but Fire Giant is coming up quite quickly.
Yeah, Fire Giant should be back up here in about the next 90 seconds. There is ultimates available on all players across the board. Trick Tank the only one lacking. But Lass is in the jungle now, in between 4 members of TSM. Trixtank going to try to slow him down. ShadowQ trying to rally, but he's just going to throw the Stone Shield, and Lass going to fall away. Fatalis Vamana now sitting on top of ShadowQ, and look at the damage with those shin sides. ShadowQ can't peel him. Ultimate comes out, beads down by Youngbei. Game Hunter continues to rip through Team Dignitas. Anatoly trying to run. They're going to slow them down for now. Dignitas on their back feet.
Looking for Anatoly, not going to be enough damage. Cubo looking for Zapman as well. Knocked there, their damage comes through. Team SoloMid wants some more kills on top of this. Searing Pay comes through. It's going to land on Trixtank, but not enough damage to take him out. Banish up in the air. Anatoly getting low. Chain Lightning comes out. The best goes down. Double kill. There's the killing spree. Laz is forced to jump away. Can he survive? He did. He will. Trixtank going into the base. Could this be the end of the game and force the game 2, where they have 2 games up?
Oh no. 10-1 Apollo up against the Titan with all these players to tank it. +2 shit size. Dry Bear. This is going to be game number 1 going the way of Team SoloMid.
Wow. Wow. The Titan now taking damage, falling down. You're going to see it exploding. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a Team SoloMid fan, let me hear every noise you can make. They turned this game around so quickly. Now, that beginning.
Yeah, they had a tough start.
4,000 gold behind. They had a deficit. Everything seemed to be going wrong. Anatoly, he went home, he studied, he got that tower down very, very quickly. I mean, very powerful play from anyone on Dignitas, but that late game Team SoloMid play just was too much. We're going to shoot over to the analysts to see what they think about this one. Take it away, Trendkill.
Thanks, guys, and welcome back to the Alienware Analyst Desk. I am Trendkill. I'm sitting now with DM Brandon Lionheart and DJ Pernicus. How about that game?
Throughout that entire game, Team SoloMid kind of played safely. They seemed a little worried, but every time Dignitas was out of position, they took advantage of it. Every time.
You know, we're sitting here and we're talking about the play styles of the different teams, and DJ Pernicus brought up a really, really excellent point from the other day when we were sitting here, and that is that Team SoloMid is extremely comfortable in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously saw Lassus just tearing people apart with the tier. That's a very common pick in the North American scene. It's highly prioritized, and we saw that. That was, you know, one of their first picks. But Team SoloMid didn't seem to get flustered at all. They just, you know, tried to take minimal damage in terms of objectives and then fight later on in the end stages.
Let's take a look here at the Logitech First Blood. We're going to check in with Trixtank as he gets the slow off onto ShadowQ. Now, this is the second time ShadowQ's Geb has been just a little bit too far, and the Chain Lightning is going to swing back and forth, stack up the detonate. One hit by Trix from TSM. This is his birthday wish. His birthday gift right there.
Yes, it was. And I want to bring something up. DJ Pernicus and I were sitting down, and we were talking to Anatoly, and he said, I'm ready to play against Vamana. I'm ready to see that Game Hunter Vamana because I think I can handle it. In your opinion, did he handle it? Was Game Hunter a big part in that game?
Yeah, that was a good conversation me and Anatoly had. And he played lights out in the beginning of the game, you know? They killed the Vamana early. That's exactly what they wanted to do. But I warned him. I said, you know, you're going to win lane phase because you're a good player, you like the raw pick, you're comfortable now, you know you made a few mistakes, but you're going to make the adjustments. But 20 minutes later, that Vamana is going to be with his team, not in the lane anymore, and he's going to be stomping over everyone, and that's what appeared to happen in the late game.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of that, so one of the things that was key to that matchup was the Heavenly Agility opening, right? He didn't do that before, and we saw Creeping Curse basically lead to the First Blood kills solo one-on-one between these two players. And so this time, when Game Hunter used the Creeping Curse to try and save himself, as it was a gank with Lazarus and Anatoly, Heavenly Agility completely cleaned it up. Got a tower before 6 minutes in the lane, which was really good, but one of the things that I think we were all really discussing is no anti-sustain for Vamana. There was not a weakening curse, there was not a divine ruin, or anything to shut down that regeneration. So as soon as he goes into big baby form, there's no stopping him, and he's killing everybody. In the last fight, solo Geb couldn't do anything. I mean, ShadowQ uses Cataclysm in almost what looked like a panic because nobody's able to stop him.
In that sense, maybe we should see a different support pick. Maybe a Sobek or a Bacchus, someone with an inherent healing reduction.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. There is 2 tanks with the ability, or Guardians rather, with the ability to reduce healing. But I want to take a step back and even say, maybe we need to start banning out Game Hunter. You know? There's a lot of, it's kind of like sports, you know. You look at basketball, there's players that you'll double team just to eliminate their offensive production, and sometimes you need to do that in a video game situation like this as well. There's a couple of players that seem to be making huge impacts later on in the game, and I think it's time to start banning out and picking to prevent them from getting those comfortable characters for them.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's the right way to go about it, going after Game Hunter, because there's a limited, I mean, he's going to be good with pretty much anybody, but there's definitely 3 that he's excelled with in the Smite launch tournament that you could get rid of. And then maybe you'll be able to take some of that effort and focus on Youngbei as well, because Youngbei had a phenomenal game too.
Well, you ban the chalk, you ban the baby, you try to take everything away from Game Hunter, but then we check on his stats, and you notice it says favorite god is Apollo, and we've seen him doing this during the qualifiers, man, and it is no joke.
Yeah, I want to talk about that last fight, because there were some strategic moves in that last fight, and we all kind of went crazy when it happened. And I know DM wanted to elaborate, so let's hear about that.
It started by ShadowQ stepping a little bit too far, no big deal. You see Lassus step a little bit too far, no big deal. So then Trixtank moves up, starts the Tallow Assault onto Lassus, and the first thing as a support player that goes through your head, and this is not really a mistake so much, it's just it happened, is, oh, I'll just use Stone Shield. He won't take any damage.
Right.
But Rollout was down at that point, and Stone Shield was down at that point. So then we just saw Trixtank use his ult, Game Hunter use his ult, we saw the big baby come through, and then suddenly ShadowQ is dead. So now we have 5 members at TSM, 3 ultimates remaining, versus 4 members at Dignitas with ults remaining, but they don't have a tank anymore.
Yeah, and you also brought something, I don't want to keep going to you, but you also brought up the point that Dignitas has been ignoring the mid camps.
They have. And have you noticed this? The whole tournament, they have been starting at blue buff and not mid camps, and they have lost it almost every single time. And off that blue buff, they're either looking to invade or looking to take something else, but it's not really been successful so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think just piggybacking off of that, you know, success, at least early game, gank-wise and momentum-wise, I mean, Dignitas, they seem to have that. But again, Team SoloMid is just so comfortable in the late game. I don't think you can let them get there if you're Team Dignitas. And one of the things that they maybe had made an error in terms of drafting and picks and bans, and we talked about this, was that they picked AMC against Guan Yu. Oh, yeah. And Zapman couldn't do anything against that ultimate. He was able to rush down, stun him every time, and if the goal is to end the game early and not let it go to late, you have to pick lanes that are going to win. You can't have that happen.
Yeah, we saw that happen on multiple occasions, and like you were talking about, if TSM is going to take the game late and try to win at that point, the ranged AD position is going to be, you know, the focal point that Dig needs to focus on, because that character is going to be doing so much damage in the late game and really is the only threat for a character like Vamana, right? Even though he normally has a lot of physical protection, it's just the sheer crits that you get on the Hunter class are incredible.
Speaking of the Hunters, Youngbei was always strategically in those fights. The way he was using Across the Sky to get in between 2 people and position himself to always have a choice of who he can hit and never force himself out to chase one person was brilliant. Like right at the end there, he puts himself in between 2 players who were almost dead. Cubo has the opportunity to chase down the Ra. Of course, Anatoly working towards the Phoenix, and then you see Youngbei chasing through the jungle, another player with 1 hit health. The Banish comes out onto the Ra, they find 2 kills immediately, and then poor Lassus is just basically by himself trying to hold the Phoenix up.
And really clever use of Banish too, multiple times in the fights. I mean, Cubo Fred was just able to set up so much with that ability.
He's just been incredible.
I do want to touch back on a point that I was talking about and taking players, you know, out of a game, and I think the strategy we saw from Dig was Trixtank. He played Sun Wukong almost the entire tournament and was absolutely dominating. He was, you know, he was making plays that you don't expect out of a Guardian. You know, he was carrying a lot of late game team fights with Game Hunter. And I think they were successful because he didn't play quite as well on the Guan. You know, he did have a couple of really early kills on the Hunter of the Dig, you know, Zap, but
matchup-based kills.
Yes, matchup-based kills, exactly the point you were talking about earlier. But I think we should still shift the focus back to Game Hunter. It'll be really interesting to see how these bans and picks go in this game, too.
And speaking of picks and bans, let's talk about the picks and bans in this game, because I heard you guys chattering back and forth about the team comps and what was good and what wasn't in the picks and bans. So let's discuss that a bit.
If you don't mind, I would like to start.
Are you going to say something about Nemesis?
Can you believe that Nemesis was banned?
No way. That happened again?
I got called out by Lion pretty hard right there.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good though. I mean, Nemesis has been really strong, and I think you're going to see some of these bans shift again. Just going back to the Game Hunter thing, and I think bans should probably shift that direction. And they're also going to take a look at kind of the way the compositions fell out. When I saw Tyr get drafted right away, I said this is going to be a problem for Team SoloMid, and it was early. It seemed to be less of a problem late, though. The synergy between Lazis and Anatoly is really, really good. And again, I think those picks seem to work out for them. Maybe be careful with the Raw if something like the Apollo is going to come out, and again, who knows what Game Hunter's planning. But I think the rest needs to flow better.
All right. Yeah, and I want to point out, and I want to remind everybody that they win game 1. TSM wins game 1. That means they are up 2. They only have to win 1 more. So what is Dignitas going to have to do to stay in this tournament?
Honestly, they were doing all the right things in that game. They had a huge, huge lead, and it just didn't pan out, really. It seems like they're separated. I think really the big turning point was where Lazis, Anatoly, and Zapman were kind of making a triangle in the mid lane. Lazis goes in for 2 kills. Anatoly's back in the side there where he's trying to get the Heavenly Agility out there, and there just wasn't any cohesion.
Yeah. And you and I talked about that, actually, because they were split out, and it seemed that one side was calling to get kills, the other side was calling to retreat. You have to avoid miscommunications like that. And there were other miscommunications. I mean, Team SoloMid didn't play a perfect game either. There was an instance where they got chased out by Anatoly and Lazis, and they had 3, and they could have just turned around and killed them. And instead, they ended up losing some of the momentum there, ultimately still securing the game. But I think that avoiding small mistakes like that for Dignitas and then closing early. They have to close early. Late game, TSM just hasn't mastered.
Yeah, right. I think to keep it really simple, I want to see Lazis get a hyper carry. Tyr is someone who can push people into your teammates and allow them to basically finish them. But I want to see Lazis play maybe a Freya or someone who could take it to the late game and dominate then. And I think we'll see a closer game and more contention in the late game. TSM won't just run away with it 30 minutes plus.
And we'll find out because the game is getting ready to start. This is game 2 of the grand finals. This could create a champion. We'll see.
Hello, Atlanta. Welcome to game number 2. It's the grand finals between Team SoloMid and Team Dignitas, fighting for their lion's share of the $200,000 plus prize pool.
That's exactly right. We're here going into technically game 3. Now, again, reminder, Team SoloMid went through the upper bracket. They conquered all the way through, so of course they are awarded 1 win to start the series, and now they are technically 2-0 versus Team Dignitas in a best of 5, which means this is game point.
This could be it. Championship point for Team SoloMid. Can they keep their composure, keep it together, and find the victory? Interesting game last game. I mean, we saw Trix Tank actually on the Guan Yu be very effective without really leading to kills. It was simply just he was in the right place at the right time in terms of zoning. And it seemed like as the mid-game progressed, they had a hard time getting Lazis in the right spot as Tyr. He was so effective in the early game, and then once a team fight stage happened, he would initiate, but there would be this efficient follow-up because of that Guan Yu disruption. The
analysts talked a little bit about this. The small little things make a big difference. No prevalence of mid-camp contention for Dignitas, although they did have control of the map. They weren't, they weren't fully bringing in their crops. They weren't farming everything effectively. You're going to end up. There goes the baby band, Sun Wukong. That's right. Ages, is he like 4, 5?
You know what this means, though, Driver?
What's that?
We may see Nemesis.
Oh!
Wow, Aphrodite banned out, so Nemesis available, as is Zeus and Chuck, and Dignitas immediately taking a look at the Chuck. That's a snap pick, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck on the board for Team Dignitas.
They love playing this. Now, they don't play it all the time, but he's so strong, they have to get it if it's available. Nemesis Zeus! If there is ever a high-profile game, it's going to be this one.
They value Chuck higher than the Nemesis and the Zeus. Heresy about 6 weeks ago. People would have been kind of losing it, wondering why he was so popular. But here it is, Chuck brought to the table. And, Dignitas going to look to draft more Dignitas-style gods. The Agni and likely the Tyr to follow this up. I mean, this is exactly, there you have it. It's exactly what they like to play.
Tyr locked in, Agni locked in, go with what works. The best plays well in the mid lane with Agni. Lassus plays well with Tyr. Now, I'm actually hoping they don't give this to Anatoly because it's not a character that he's comfortable with. We know he likes sitting back with Ra. We know he likes controlling the zone and assisting in a lot of ways. The Ra is going to go over here to Game Hunter, it seems. So that's going to be a bit of a swap up here. So I'm very curious to see what Anatoly is going to play in the solo. And he has some interesting picks in his pocket. He's been talking about possibility of Hades or something like that. He likes different picks in the solo lane. But, you know, everything's on the line right now for Dignitas. They have to play the world's most perfect game here to push this even further in. Apollo locked in. Guan Yu locked in here for TSM. Now it's all on Dignitas. Oh!
No, Lassus is trolling me. Look at him smile. I see you on player cam, Lassus. Get out of here. There it is. Being locked in. And Muzen Cobb going to round out the lineup for Team Dignitas, ladies and gentlemen. This gives them a lot of team fight potential. I mean, the Chalk ultimate with the Geb follow-up and Agni Bombs, tier controlling, Muzen throwing in damage. Very, very potent team.
You know, he's very, very strong control, and we've seen Geb work in every single game that we've watched him. You know, very high effectiveness, very great control grid, movement speed. He can use rollout to get from the long lane to the mid camps to contest them very, very quickly. AMC locked in. Now, the question is, what are they going to lock in last year? Oh, they do it! They do it! The Time Lord has come back in time to beckon his entrance into the Smite launch event. Wow.
Kronos in the finals, and it's going to go the way of Game Hunter into the solo lane.
That's right.
You'll have Apollo making his way over to Young Bay. This is going to be one hell of a game, the Kronos.
Whew. You know, something about this that irks me. TSM is known for their late game.
Yes.
They make it to the late game, they conquer the late game. In fact, a lot of times TSM will lose the early game because the fundamentals are there or someone else's different team is focusing more on the early game, mid game. Kronos is a thing of nightmares in the late game. He is terrifying.
One of the
high movement
carries.
speed. You know, you're sitting in the jungle. Let's say you're sitting there doing a buff. All you hear is, "Let's go."
And
it's just, you're like, no,
no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No. But the real terror here is that it's on Game Hunter. And we've seen how he plays in the late game and how well and committed he is to those timings. And it's going to be really, really gross. But let's see exactly how it is going to go down, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 3 is ready. Team SoloMid holding a 2-0 advantage. Let's go ahead and introduce your teams. They are the blue team in this matchup, fighting out on the bottom side of your minimap, the left side of your spectator UI, and representing the order team, it is the fan favorites, Team Dignitas.
Going through them. That's right. Give it up. Give it up.
It's going to be the best in the mid lane as Agni, Anatoly in the solo lane as Chuck, Zapman and ShadowQ combining for the Muzen Cobb Geb duo lane, and Lassus the captain in the jungle once again on tier.
Wow, what a powerful play. But we're not done yet. They're going to have to go through Team SoloMid. Give it up in chat. Give it up in the crowd. This is their day to shine. They're up 2-0. Tricks take on Guan Yu, rocking that Smite launch event skin. We've got Game Hunter on Kronos, Lobster playing Zeus, Young Bay on Apollo, and Cubo Fred. He's playing Nemesis in the jungle. Look at this early aggression. Both teams kind of grouping up in the mid area, but this is going to be an Kronos versus Chalk. Game point, Grand Finals, World Championship. Wow.
Yeah, the Kronos versus Chalk matchup. Not a lot of experience with this one, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Kronos not an often picked god, and Chalk just recently becoming in vogue for that role. So it's not really something that I think either player is going to have a lot of experience with, certainly. Probably the advantage going the way of Game Hunter. Chalk picked up earlier in the qualifiers in Europe, certainly. So he's probably played this once or twice, especially in high-ranked European play. I think that it's probably, though, past the 10, 15-minute mark, it's Game Hunter's lane.
You know, I really want to this is going to be a little bit balanced, I think, for the first 8 to 10 levels. We know, actually, Anatoly likes to skip Rain Dance. He doesn't pick it up early. He wants to level Torrent and Thunderstrike to be able to clear the wave. And Kronos, you know, doesn't get picked up as much. And I think Game Hunter specifically chose Kronos here because he knew he was going to go up against Chalk. Chalk's early clear is a little bit weak. Kronos' early clear a little bit weak, and they're going to hit their stride at about the same time. So once Kronos is able to use the time stop into the time rip to clear the wave, the same thing goes for Anatoly on Chalk. They do the same exact thing, and I feel like Game Hunter is confident in this matchup.
Yeah, and Game Hunter, the type of player that will consistently land those time warp? The small nuke that you'll see him using.
Rift.
Time Rift, there we go. I knew it was one of those times. And their stop time, of course, coming out there. But his wave clear doesn't really get online until maybe about level 6, level 7. But at that point, Game Hunter should be able to safely farm this. And he can also play very aggressive with the rewind. So look for some big plays from Game Hunter. in every game you see him in, but especially in this one.
Oh, look at this award over the movement speed buff from Lobster in the mid lane. What a beautiful play there, making sure that when that gets taken, he will know when he's over there. Right side. Oh, look at this. Lassus, don't talk. I hear you. There goes the hit. Fearless on Game Hunter, surrounded. There's a double stun. Time rip. How is he alive? The Purification Beast, no activation. What in the world? The double stun keeps him alive.
Game Hunter calm under pressure. They're able to avoid that gank that looked like a surefire kill for Team Dignitas, avoiding that Logitech first blood for now at least, and hold the phone dry. Bear, take a look on the left side of the map. The orange buff going to go the way of Cubo, Fred, and Trixtank, stolen from Team Dignitas.
Wow. What a wonderful, wonderful engagement there, just stealing away the enemy buffs. TSM sneaking into the enemy jungle, and you know, this is going to add more insult to injury as the game gets more and more in favor of TSM. 300 gold now. Mid-camp's being contested here. This is what the criticism we gave Dignitas in the analysis, the fact that they're not going for these in effect. They're going to go for both of them here. Not going to get the first one, but they will get the right one. So 90 gold per camp. Very important to secure these as often as possible in an even game. Mid-camps make the difference. Mid lane the best. Being pressured here by Trixtank, so he's going to rotate over. Now, of course, this does leave Youngbei alone on the left side, but, you know, he can handle himself.
Yeah, Youngbei should be able to stay pretty safe in this lane. Zapman, maybe about level 6, level 7, will be able to clear it a bit faster than the Apollo. But for now, I think the clear is roughly the same. You know, the only real advantage, I think, in this lane is going to be the difference between the that Stinger once it comes online. But yeah, tossing it back over to the solo lane here, Driver. Take a look at Anatoli's build.
You know, he's level 5 and he doesn't have an ultimate. He's skipping his ultimate just to get more Torrent, more Thunderstrike damage to clear, and look at it paying off. He's clearing the wave much faster now. You can see he doesn't have the ultimate yet. Now, I imagine he's going to pick it up soon. You want to have Storm Call, but skipping the ultimate level 5 from Anatoly means he just wants to push this lane as hard as he possibly can, forcing Game Hunter home.
Well, he also knows that he's not in any danger of dying to the Game Hunter, Cuba Fred. Unlikely to be able to kill him as the Nemesis if he, you know, just kind of runs away and plays it relatively safe. And the ultimate now still, oh yeah, now he has it online at level 6.
There
so,
he goes.
You know, being a bit more safe. I think probably that Cuba Fred rotation into the lane is really what scared him into skilling it.
There's Lassus in the jungle looking for a gank in the mid lane. He does have his ultimate available to jump over the wall if need be, but Lobster's being extra safe. No vision over there, no wards being placed down, but he has a feeling that something's coming. He's moving up here. Oh, Lassus hanging out for a long period of time. There's a little pressure, looking for some damage, but not really trying to commit too hard. Cubo Fred in the mid lane as well. Slice and Dice is available. The ultimate is available as well. Divine Judgment, of course, but I'm not going to use it just yet. Leaving the Hunters alone. A lot of movement from both teams here, and I really enjoy it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, wherever you're watching from, thank you for coming in. It is 4 minutes and 20 seconds here into game number 3 of the finals. TSM up 2 games to nothing as Dignitas looks to engage a bit. They're on to Trixtank, but not too much doing beyond that.
Anatoly going to the right lane, meeting up with Game Hunter. It seems like they're relatively even. Game Hunter sitting at 2,900 and Anatoly at 3,100. So a 200 gold differential between this. It looks like Anatoly is actually winning this lane pretty easily here. There goes the clear. No follow-up just yet. Looking at the charts, we're going to see a 370 gold lead for Team SoloMid right now, keeping a little bit of lead ahead, a little bit ahead, and honestly just mostly comes with the solo lane where Anatoly is just farming more effective. It seems like he's figured out the trick to beat Game Hunter in the solo lane there, but I don't think they have the recipe to beat him late.
Well, he does have 1,800 gold in hand, so... wow. Trixtank just exploded there as Dignitas engaged.
Beautiful play. That Stinger makes a big difference. Now, the Dash Warrior's Will from Guan Yu is considered a movement ability that is removed by a cripple, so the Stinger coming out there was a really big deal, preventing him from dash away, and it's the damage that they needed. So First Blood, Logitech First Blood, will end up going to Team Dignitas on the left side of the map, and that's a great thing, because that means Zapman is now able to control things. He actually is going to take the lead in gold for the entire game. That bodes well for Dignitas going into the mid-stage.
Yeah, and he has a small advantage now over Youngbei as well, so the 1v1 matchup with the Guardians Roam will get stronger and stronger for Team Dignitas, which is great news. It also means that if they can force fights on the other side of the map and force a Youngbei rotation, they get Zapman even more ahead, and Dignitas tends to play quite well when Zapman's able to play ahead.
Look at the... Wow, look at this. TSM picking up the move speed as it respawns. They have the timer there on their screen. They know exactly when it comes up. They're going to get it again. Cubo Fred has picked up this movement speed from Dignitas twice in a row now. Now look at the chart. A slight lead for Dignitas is going to be up on the scoreboard, but we have yet to see a big fight coming out here. ShadowQ slowed by Slice and Dice following up here, looking for a big interaction. There goes again the best forced out, jumping in. There goes the kill. ShadowQ has got Lobster is traded as well. There goes a huge swarm damage. Chain Lightning coming out. The Trickstake looking for it. Slice and Dice. The Storm Call. Silence is about. Kilo Fred trying to get it away here, looking for the dash. The double dash comes out. The dunk from Apollo's on the ground. Here goes a big dash out. Zapman wants to disengage completely. There goes Last from over the wall, but he didn't bring any drinks to the party.
It's a good trade, though. They trade ShadowQ for Lobster, which is a wonderful, wonderful trade for Team Dignitas.
Absolutely.
They take down the enemy mid laner here and only give up their support. Support already sitting on Boots 2 and the Blink 2 and the Hand 2. So he has a lot of his kind of first 10 minutes of the game core items up and running.
Game Hunter now going to the right side of the map, looking at his build. He's had magic shoes too. Will he go for damage or will he go for penetration versus CDR? That's the question, but a big rotation from Dignitas as Game Hunter spots it out and runs right over to his tower with Accelerate. Make sure he does not get caught out by that. Fire Giant is yet to crawl out of its hole. We'll even be up. And, the fact that we're even considering objectives right now really shows how much respect we give to these teams. The Gold Theory is available, and all it would take is a single pick, maybe even two, to force them into a Gold Theory. We actually have Anatoly picking up the Creeping Curse. Weakening Curse, a possibility here, but would really only be for Guan Yu.
Yeah, that's true. I think it may be the attack speed reducing curse here, primarily because Youngbei, Lobster, Game Hunter, and Cuvo all scale very well with attack speed.
Yeah, a big difference there, slowing them all down. Gold Theory area, ShadowQ going to ward this one up. There goes a standard ward. No Sentry wards being picked up just yet. Of course, they're a little bit behind there. 2-1 for Dignitas. Still 200 gold behind. So again, for all intents and purposes, this is an even game. Mid lane looking for Lobster. Not going to find it. Last is jumping in, but the purification beats are just so quick. I think these players are very excited that they're playing on almost no latency.
Yeah, they've been. It's really surprising to see Team Dignitas continually return to tier, knowing that it's been a struggle to get those Fearless chains, locked down. But he's still very potent. You still know when the beats have been used and when you can initiate safely. You just aren't getting the free pick occasionally.
Right side, Anatoly holding his own. His tower is untouched right now.
Oh, that left side. Youngbei going to go down to the Blink. Cataclysm from ShadowQ. Zapman following up with the Stinger. Another kill and a killing spree for Zapman.
What a wonderful play there, and it seems like Youngbei is just under too much pressure. Trickstake is rotating, and they're recognizing that if they keep two over there, it's going to be a really, really big contribution to their end game if they can shut down Youngbei. Saying 0-1 and 0 right now. That's going to push them up 120 gold. Getting the mid camps on the left side still. Right side goes to TSM. Mid lane being pushed up completely. Looking at Adam builds right now. Cube Fred's going to start with that mace. Jotun's going to be probably his main choice here. And nothing really too surprising coming out just yet. It's a slow game.
Yeah, but with that kill onto Youngbei, now you're looking at a pretty significant net worth advantage going the way of Zapman. 5,400 gold under his belt, 4,700 in the way of Youngbei. So it's 700 gold difference means Zapman will be in the lane with Boots finished much, much earlier.
Oh. Mid lane, the damage, the best. He's taking this personally. He wants Lobster to be cooked for dinner. He's feeling seafood tonight as he forced back towards his tower. Slow solo lane here. It seems like Game Hunter and Anatoly have met their match, going head to head and being very, very even. Now we do see Boots almost done for Zapman. Now the biggest thing about the fact that Zapman is now ahead of Youngbei is AMC is a great boxing god, and so 1v1 it's going to be difficult for them to do anything.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, I think, because they have Zapman ahead, that opens up a lot of options for ShadowQ. He can really pressure the mid lane. He can look for counter jungling. He can get a lot of different things together. And I think at the end of the day, what you're looking at here is Team Dignitas is playing their game this game. They have Anatoly, holding down the solo lane, waiting, biding his time. They have Lassus roaming, looking for ganks. ShadowQ rotating often, and Zapman a bit ahead. And Best playing Best, which is a fairly risky style of mid.
Again, this movement's being taken out by Kilo Fred. Trickstake on his way over to make sure that he's covered in case something comes over. Oh, look at this. Dignitas might know about it. They're going to see it, but it's too little, too late. Goes down. This is the third time he's got it. There's a Cataclysm coming out there. Kilo Fred sundown. The Stinger, the ultimate coming out from Zeus as well. The lightning's coming down from above. Looking for Zapman. Purification beats. Gets out in time. There goes the kill. Kilo goes down. Trickstake forced out. Path of Flames. Lobster. Can he get away from this? The Blink comes out. He's okay. Trickstake going to disengage as well, but Lassus isn't done yet. Can he get this kill? Fearless dashes away, disengaged.
Disengage completely. There is TSMND. ShadowQ now trying to clear out the mid wave a bit, keep the pressure up. Right side lane here in the slap fight, we have Anatoly and Game Hunter. Game Hunter a bit behind Toly now, damage-wise, HP-wise, as well as we mentioned a few times, it takes him quite a bit longer to come online. It looks like it's going to be a first item, Demonic Grip for Game Hunter.
Path coming out from the best in the mid lane, making sure this wave gets pushed up all the way towards the tower. You mentioned it, I mean, the gold is dead even. It's literally 17. 17 is the gold difference between the two teams, and you know, if you're Dignitas, you're not really too excited about this, considering the fact that if you lose this game, you're knocked to second place at the $200,000 Smite launch event. I mean, they really do not want to force this down. Now, one thing I do want to stress for those of you who are just joining us is the fact that, you know, this is a third-person MOBA. All these shots are coming out are from a third-person perspective and are aimed directly. You see the best in the mid lane right now. Everything he's shooting out is aimed and timed based on travel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of vector analysis going on in the heads of the players here, but realistically, it's really more about kind of understanding.
In trouble, knocked up, looking for a kill. Here's Lasses dashing back and forth, back in the jungle. There goes the cleave as well. The pass, the bomb, it hits!
The best with a beautiful placement there. Now Dignitas piling on top of Trick, saying he's actually going to use Cavalry Charge to get out of here alive. They don't have that tool available now. Rotating over is the rest of TSM to try to hold off what they suspect to be a push in the mid lane, or even a Gold Fury attempt. And it was indeed that, because Dignitas has just taken it down. Taking a look at the graphs now. 1,900 gold in favor of Team Dignitas.
Give it up if you're a fan right now. They're taking their lead for the game. A little bit later, there's 5-2 here, heading towards the 13-minute mark. And, you know, they're kind of waiting for the solo lane to come in to join. This is pretty much just a 4v4. Neither of them have really had the opportunity to leave yet. And so we're really just waiting to see what the solo laners bring to it. Now, we know Kronos is a great late game character. A lot of single target damage, good small AoE with that time rip, and of course high movement speed. But Chalk, always a presence, has that ultimate, has that control. Who do you think is going to be more influential?
It's really tough to call. I mean, I think it's very hard to bet against the silence. Chalk's ultimate makes him immune to damage and brings a big AoE silence to the team. And I think that it's maybe the more important kind of role in the team because of the draft that Dignitas has here. You know, with the AoE ultimates on ShadowQ, Anatoly, and the best, the Wombo combo for them is very, very potent. Taking a look over the left side lane where Zatman's in a bit of trouble, popping the sprint, trying to get away. There's a stone shield as well. Cuba Fred wants to dive this tower. Knocked up brilliantly there by ShadowQ. Zatman rotating back and Stinger. It only hits Youngbei, looking for Cubo Fred, but that should be enough to force a disengage. Well played there by Dig to save Zatman.
He pulled out all the stops on that one, trying to get it far away from them as he possibly could. Great recovery from ShadowQ. Shockwave just in time to prevent Cubo from doing any more damage from that range. And so Zatman will live to fight another day. He has a Draining Blade. It's going to give him 20% attack speed, but Trickstick, he wants it! He gets the stun. Zatman force back. Up there is Youngbei. Will he look for the dunk? He turns right back around. No, he comes back in. Does he have this so beautiful? Knocked away. They want it so bad, but the Zatman, he dances.
Once he realized that Lasses had used Fearless, but it's too late. Bay! In comes Lasses and jams it in.
He gets that one. Not done yet. Chain Landing's available, looking for it. Zatman, Chain Landing, 1 charge, 2 charge, 3 charge. Detonate comes out. Good Cataclysm slowed down. Ultimate, 1, 2, 3 charges. The sprint, he doesn't survive.
Lobster with the big time detonate there on to Zatman. So at the end of the day, they do clean him up, but not before he finds 4 kills, 2 deaths, 1 assist. Great farm coming out, and the crit already being started now by the B. Youngbei still working up to that point. Only seeing 400 gold in hand and a bit behind. In the meantime, Anatoly will take the tier 1 on the right side. Dignitas, 2,700 gold.
This is the second time 2 games in a row that Anatoly has taken Game Hunter's tower first. That is amazing. We watched Game Hunter, the pentakill champion of Smite, launch, of course, still to be remain. No, that's open. That could still happen. We don't know.
True.
But at this point, you know, it's amazing because we all hail Game Hunter, but maybe we should be hailing Anatoly. The control is here. Now, he did rotate over for just a second, but Anatoly has figured out what makes Game Hunter tick, and he's able to control this. That tower going down means a big, big thing. 2,500 gold in the lead is Team Dignitas, but now Chalk is going to come over, join the fights, have that 3-second silence from Stormcall. He's going to be able to put the presence down with damage, and he's completely safe to do so because that tower's gone.
I think one thing that's interesting to point out here, player damage stat, Zatman sitting at 5,400. You look over at Youngbei, 2,700. So doubling up nearly the amount of damage put out onto players is Zatman over Youngbei, plus the gold advantage of nearly 1,000. And plus 4 and 2 versus 1 and 2. Very, very, very different games today for these hunters.
Trixtank pops in the air. There's the ultimate coming out. The Stinger was actually used there. Stinger coming out on top of Trixtank. The blink, the cataclysm. Trixtank gonna go down looking for Lobster. There goes Lassus. Purification piece activated as well. Coming from above. Youngbae doing damage. The Storm Call prevents him from dashing away. He sounds for a few more seconds. Now turning around looking for a fight opportunity. There goes Nemesis. Cubo Fred going the mid lane. Lobster going home. Surrounded. Cubo needs to get somewhere safe. There's nowhere to go. Going to the jungle. Dashing away. The dunk from Lassus is not going to be enough. He's got no mana left, but he's got a movement speed. Who gave TSM 2 movement speed buffs?
They did. They continually are able to find that movement speed buff over on the side of Dignitas. And, you know, I do think it's pretty interesting here that Dignitas did let Nemesis get through, and here's why. You know, they play Zapman so aggressively out of that Hunter role. Generally speaking, not hold that thought. Last is going to find the Fearless Chain. Nope, he's going to go right through him as a bees are active by Game Hunter. Such good game sense there by the solo laner for TSM. But back to the point about Nemesis. It's interesting they let her get through because they play their Hunter so aggressively, and Nemesis is a god that can really punish the overextension and the sprint. So you activate sprint as a hunter, you stick to your target, you throw in the auto attacks, and then Nemesis can close a distance that you've made very quickly, slow you down, and look for the kill, and has damage to do it.
Yeah, movement speed, immunity is going to be the biggest thing against the Nemesis as well as other characters. There goes Slice and Dice on Anatoly. He's so tanky, he doesn't really care. Oh, Divine Judgment. The stun's not going to land from Game Hunter. It's too fast with that sprint. They're doing damage here. Look how much he does with basic attack. Slice and Dice coming out there. Anatoly forced all the way back into his own jungle. He definitely moved like a Jaguar right there. Now healing back up his Trixtank right here. We're heading toward 18 minutes. It's looking pretty good for Dignitas. 1,200 gold, but we haven't seen a major objective unless Zapman? Zapman, the solo party looking for it. Now it's a Hunter versus Hunter, and there's a big Gold Fury involved. Trixtank coming out. The green might be too much. The stun gets 2. The Gold Fury is still available. Up from above is the ultimate from Zeus. Red team, there goes the kill. Gold Fury goes to TSM. Shadow Q around here. Anatoly coming in. Does he have the sword kill? He does indeed, but it's too little, too late. Lobster gets a double kill.
Youngbae takes to the skies. They want to pick up Anatoly. Crashing back down. No, sorry, he's going for Best in the back lines. Best forced to dash out. Not much health available anymore. Oh, Cubo. Cubo finds Best, but at what cost? He's going to barely survive as he goes through the Tier 2. Deicide, TSM.
It happens so quick.
It always does.
It does. It really does. Dignitas taken aback by that last engagement.
Love this, by the way. They're actually very low, but actually going to go for the objectives here. And this is something that we've seen teams kind of struggle with, I think, throughout the tournament.
Going for that tower, getting a lot of gold out of it. Now going to go for the Tier 2, it looks like. No respawn coming out just yet. Now, really, it was a good call. Let's go ahead and talk about this. It was a good call by Zapman to try and get that gold through. There's a lot of people on the right side of the map. He knows they're there, and he's trying to sneak it away. But, you know, there was a lack of vision, and also he was committed too hard to it. If he saw contention, he needed to get disengaged completely instead of trying to stay on it.
So, several towers taken out there to the tune of 3 for TSM in the left and middle lane. Left side Phoenix exposed as well. Gold difference spiking up to 6,000 gold in favor of TSM. And maybe more importantly, as we're just kind of reaching the point where experience is maybe becoming most important thing in the game outside of just those early levels, 8,200 XP. I mean, that graph just plummets to the bottom of this TSM side. And now you look at their levels, 18, 18, 17, 17 on their cores. Zapman, Anatoly, and Lassus all quite a bit under that. Lassus only level 14.
Yeah, definitely very behind in a lot of aspects. Gold, experience, map control, objective control, everything is in favor of TSM right now, but we can't count Dignitas out. They're a very intense team, and they like to rally together. We've seen them do it so many times, and now if they're going to do it, it's the time for them to put it in. Game Hunter on the right side looking for Anatoly. Big rotation. The blink into Game Hunter. Purification is activated. He has a rewind. He's trying to get through it. He will rewind. Will it keep him safe? The Storm Call when he lands. Cataclysm coming out. There goes the jump from Lens. Getting the kill. Dignitas gets the first kill in this fight. Anatoly trying to disengage. Cubo Fred surrounded. The Honey slides and dice. One more shot. Anatoly's still alive, but walks into the lightning, and it hurt too much. He goes down. Up in the air is Youngbae looking for a place to land. Will it be on Lassus? Lassus goes down.
Lobster actually activated a purple pot right before that fight. A little bit of extra damage. And now I'm not sure Dignitas will fair, but the burst is about to come out, stunning out Shadow Q. But Trixtank can't dive the tower. However, take a look at this. Dry Bear in the meantime. Youngbae actually exit that fight with Across the Skies and goes and split pushes the mid lane. A little rat coming out from TSM.
You know, he was about to land. And in fact, the kill wasn't done when he was about to land, and he saw that it was secure. Lats is very low on HP, had no dash left. His team was screaming in his ear, we're good, we got this kill, go elsewhere, Young Bae, we don't want you here. He flies right over to the mid lane, lands on the tower, clears it out, and gets another 1,500 gold for his team. You can see 7,300 in favor on the graph here for Team SoloMid. Almost 10,000 experience as well, shooting right down the experience graph. You can't even tell the lead that Dignitas had before. The lead in gold has almost disappeared. The Gold Fury is going to come out pretty soon here. But look at the completion of Game Hunter's Ratatouille.
This is where it gets really scary to be Team Dignitas. You've lost your early game lead, and now you're staring at Kronos that has a demonic grip and a Rod of Tahuti under his belt, sitting on a very, very respectable 320 magical power.
There's a stun, and it's only there's a rain dance slowing down Game Hunter. He's got the movement speed if he needs to disengage here. Damage is going to be incredible. He's not even reacting. He can rewind if he wants to and go back to the jungle. Damage. Storm Call almost in time. Reaction. Big fight in the jungle. Cataclysm comes through as well. Shockwave to respond. Trickstick on the horse, looking for the stun on Sam, and Lassus goes out. Young Bae still alive. He's shooting. There's the damage. The best takes him down in the backside as well. The best running towards his tower. Damage from Anatoly. Will it be enough? Trickstick surrounded here, trying to get out as fast as he can. The bombs will not land, but he's just so tanky.
Cubo Fred also quite low at the back of this fight. Zapman still hunting for auto attacks, but Game Hunter's rotating in. Dignitas needs to be careful. They get CC'd out here. Game Hunter can rip through the team. Combat Blink Force out for Lobster. Trickstick now the one falling back and getting quite low, but the heal going to keep him in this one for now. TSM full on retreat. The stun going to hit Zapman, and that should be enough to force them back.
Rewind from Game Hunter. Zapman going deep, looking for Lobster. A few more shots. There goes a heal from Guan Yu. Buys enough time. The detonate might be coming out soon. The body blocking. It's not enough. Zapman gets a double kill.
Oh my God. How do they do it? How do they do it? I mean, Zapman just stood his ground and man-fighted right there. He was... Oh, boys. Oh, Team Dignitas. They're going to look for a Fire Giant here. Not sure if they're going to fully commit to this. Anatoly has all of his protection sapped by that Cubo Fred Nemesis ultimate. And yeah, indeed, they're going to be forced back here. But Lassus, oh, he Lawbringers, expecting the dashes to come out, trying to preemptively find him. Zapman really wants to fight that. Beautiful stun by Best. Cubo Fred forced out with a bit of damage as well. Now Zapman plays it a little bit too risky. He's going to go down to the fist. Nemesis combination.
There's a knockup from the Fearless Lassus looking for Cubo right now. The Harpies are actually blocking him. Another dash out, more damage. Cubo Fred with a swift bench is getting out of dodge. Now looking for Young Bae, but he can fly. Wow. Cubo Fred single-handedly forced them off the Fire Giant, got a kill on Zapman, and escaped that. I mean, honestly, you can't fault Dignitas with that. They needed something. They were desperate. They had to get the Fire Giant, but Cubo Fred, they were just too weak.
Yeah, they have to take a risk sometime. I mean, with the risk comes the reward, and they need the reward so badly they have to incur the risk. It's actually a pretty good life lesson as well, Dry Bear, when it comes down to it. But I do want to point out there that in that fight, really smart stuff from Cubo. The second he saw Zapman turn around and consider, oh, maybe I can poke a little damage out from the back of this fight, just dove right back in. You know, he was pretty much disengaged. Zapman turned his head around, said, maybe I'll throw out a couple auto attacks. The second that he saw that, Cubo Fred just teed off and went in and killed the bee. Now TSM taking a look at the Gold Fury here, and they're going to be able to secure this easily. Dignitas, no contention.
Gold Fury completed, and again, yeah, you're exactly right. They can't take it away. Gold Fury goes down in favor of Team SoloMid. Now going to go ahead and increase their lead back to 7,800. And it's only the mid lane surrounded here. The 3-charge dead lane will be absorbed by the Magi's blessing that he has active. Trix Tank forced back into the jungle here. Left side looking for a kill on Cubo. Gets it. Killing spree for the best.
Dignitas still hunting for kills. Where is the Game Hunter? Lassus is behind him, but he's going to blink right back into him. Finds a stun. Damage coming out. Bam! Jams it in. Game Hunter finds a kill on the Lassus. Rewind now coming out. Primarily just to buy some time for his team to try to help him. Going to use the beads. Going to pop Accelerate. Very, very difficult to stop that. Lobster raining in damage as well. Anatoly stunned out. Horse coming out for Trix Tank. The Cataclysm in the back lines by Shadow Q to keep Lobster, Game Hunter, and Young Bae for doing too much, but Shadow Q is going to get exploded here as they cannot deal with the God Hunter's damage, and he could be looking for yet another Penta. Oh, Bae.
Oh, Young Bae.
No. TSM's going to disengage. They're going to look for Fire Giant here as Young Bae's crashing in. Ward spotting this from Dignitas. Not existent, but they know what the score is, but they're not going to be able to see the Fire Giant's health when they try to go and take this. Oh, such a risky play by TSM. They don't need this.
They have to do something. Looking for the Fire Giant steal, but how much do they do? The detonate comes out the best, getting Larry low. Zapman dropped it low as well. He needs to get in. If they want to do this, they can do damage. They can be very careful. Trixting secures the Fire Giant. Now looking for a kill. This might be too greedy. Damage comes out. The Stinger, the shot. Zapman gets the kill, but at what cost will they follow up? The kill on the best, the 1-for-1 exchange.
Yeah, it's a little too risky there, I think. I mean, had Zeus, had Lobster gotten a chain lightning off cooldown there during that fight, that would have been an easy double kill, wiping both the best and Zapman off of the map, and then creating a 5v3 situation with a Fire Giant buff really probably feels more like a 7v3.
They're desperate, sure, but, you know, honestly, looking for the kill, gonna get it, but didn't have to get that close. Gonna hit back and see if you can hit your attacks from range. The Fire Giant was there. I mean, they played it cautious and then went aggressive after they played it cautious. I mean, if you're gonna commit, commit. If not, just disengage there. And of course, Zapman could have gone in a little bit harder when the Fire Giant was there, but once it was dead, they didn't have that extra damage and distraction of Trixtank trying to secure the objective instead of looking at Zapman. And really, that's a big fall. I mean, they need to keep him alive as long as they can. Of course, looking at the best, end up dropping down there. He's the most farmed on Team Dignitas. Losing him is a huge loss for them. Now, keep in mind, there's still a lot of gold on the map for them to gain. Blink from Last is not going to land. Youngbay avoids it. The dunk comes down. Looking for the miss. Not going to hit it, actually. A bit of a miss-aim there as right side being pushed up by TSM.
TSM looking for this right side Phoenix. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, if they win this game, they win the championship. Last is now the one in some trouble. Trixtank on top of him. Nemesis ultimate coming out. They're going to miss the stun there, well, Trixtank, but it doesn't matter. The damage piling in enough to clean up the captain. And now TSM has a very real chance of breaking the Dignitas base.
Looking for the Phoenix. Feel your heartbeat right now. This could be the end of the entire series. Lean forward, get on the edge of your seat, get ready. This could be it. Dignitas has to put up the best defense they've ever put up in their life. Their Phoenixes, they're getting low. This could end it all. There goes the right Phoenix going down. The mid Phoenix is down as well. They have one bird left. Anatoly dropping low. He's not going to fall yet, but there goes the hit. One go down, two down. This last is about to respond in 12 seconds. Left Phoenix now being focused on. Could this be the end? The Phoenix, how many teams have come back from 3 Phoenixes going down?
No ultimates available on the side of Dignitas either to try to hold this out. They're going to lose all 3 of their Phoenixes. Looks like TSM is going to go ahead and regroup. What are they thinking, though? I mean, are they going to go clear the jungle, take the gold for you? No, it looks like it is going to be perhaps mass recalls coming out from them. Dignitas getting a free pass out of their base to go and find some experience, at least for the moment. And they're going to go ahead and do that. But if you're Team Dignitas, things are looking pretty dire, ladies and gentlemen. 28 minutes, 42 seconds into this game. TSM with a 13,000 gold advantage, up 2-0 in a best-of-5 championship point for Team SoloMid.
Now, it's not impossible.
It is not impossible.
It is not impossible for Dignitas. They can still do this, but the weight of the world is on their shoulders. They have to play the best they've ever played in their lives, and they know it. They feel it. Give it up if you're a Dignitas fan. Let them know you support them. They are not wanting to go out this quickly in the finals. Can they defend their base? There's no Phoenixes left. There's no towers left. The Titan's exposed. He's got nothing to defend him, and it all comes down to this 5 versus 5 matchup.
They have to find a way to engage in this fight, but I think TSM, looking at the way they're moving around the map, they're not going to let them get a 5-man engage. They're not going to take a straight 5v5 fight. They're going to keep Youngbay playing the rat, splitting out. They're going to keep, kind of this core of the damage dealers roaming together with Nemesis there to provide the initiation and mobility. And then Guan Yu pushing a lane up by himself, using Cavalry Charge to close distance when necessary. And that does seem to be the case here. And Zapman is forced to basically solo down Youngbay here, or it may be disaster for Dignitas.
Oh, here it comes. Initiation coming down. There goes the best. Could this be it? Last is forced out. There's the physical defense. Anatoly goes down as well. 2 players are dead from Team Dignitas. Lassus, he's fighting for his life. He's fighting for the championship. He's fighting for everything he stands for. But will he be able to survive? Gets Youngbay, but goes down. The Titan, it's getting lower and lower and lower. TSM takes the World Championship Smite Launch Tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, your champions and the winners of over $100,000 coming all the way from Europe with the #1 seed, beating Team Dignitas twice in this tournament. It is Team SoloMid.
Team SoloMid with a 2-0 victory in the grand final. This was set to be a best of 5 with them coming in with 1 game. You know what this means, Mark? Team SoloMid did not give up a single match in all of the Smite launch event, proving that they are the #1 team in the world.
The best of the West, absolutely. You see the teams shaking hands, getting up from their computers. Congratulations to the boys. They deserve all the laurels. We will have a whole ceremony dedicated to their honor. But first, let's toss it up one last time to the analyst desk. Trendkill, are you still alive?
We're still live up in the analyst desk. Wow. They didn't lose a game the entire tournament.
Yeah.
Your champions, Team SoloMid. What do we do? I mean,
I think
it's over.
Europe's the best.
It's over. Ouch.
But before we get into this, guys, I want to talk a little bit about Denial, Coast, Snipe, Cloud9, SK, Cognitive Gaming, and Team Dignitas, guys. Give it up for everyone in this event. Raise your Jeff Hindlers, raise your Cloud9s,
Your
show
Zalias.
support. Your Zalias, that's right.
Zalia.
I mean, every team deserved to be here, but we only have one winner. TSM. Let's hear it. Lionheart.
Team SoloMid, I mean, they played a phenomenal game through and through the entire Smite launch event. And, you know, Game Hunter goes for Kronos. The first time we see Kronos in the Smite launch tournament, and I think I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I froze.
We didn't understand it at first, and then DM had an epiphany.
I was just sitting here like drawing and looking at things, and everything that I was starting to think of, Game Hunter was doing 5 seconds later. It was incredible. It's like putting a puzzle together.
I mean, he was almost first blood. He almost was first blooded, and he hits at point blank range
The double stop time. I
I
can't, dude. How does he do these things? He's incredible.
He is incredible, and there was some incredible play coming out from the composition that they put together that was basically, you come to fight us, and there's so many targets that are very hard to kill. Nemesis, who we've seen picked or banned in almost every single game in this tournament.
I think it was every single game.
I think it was too, but
Yep.
I just don't want to say it without knowing for sure. So almost every single game, and probably was a monster. I mean,
Yep.
coming in, using the ultimate, reducing the protections, and just blowing up targets. Cubo Fred's presence was all over the map, and you're trying to kill Nemesis, you can't, Retribution comes up, you're trying to kill Game Hunter, and there was an unbelievable rewind multiple times where we saw him changing position to
The
be able to do
aggressive
it.
rewinds
I mean,
to put himself
unbelievable.
back down the lane to keep
Unbelievable.
fighting.
And then King Joffrey's birthday.
Today is King Joffrey,
It
a.k.a.
is.
Trix Tank's
That's
birthday,
right.
and for his birthday, I'm pretty sure hi-rez Studios just got his team $100,000.
That's incredible. We're taking a look at the Logitech First Blood. DM, you want to go through this?
This was just instantaneous death. Cataclysm, Stinger, burst him down. Zapman gets the stone shield, walks out like nothing even happened.
And you know what? Zapman actually had a really great start to this game. He had a lot of momentum, and Team SoloMid recognized it right away. Youngbay and Cubo Fred focused him down in every single engagement. And when you have Nemesis rushing you down, and you're trying to kite away, and then all of a sudden Apollo comes crashing in from the sky, there's no surviving it.
Yeah, and I think there will be people who look at some of the plays that Zap made late and be critical, but it's important to note that now we can say it, TSM, best team in the world, and especially in the late game, he had
World.
World.
They're going to have a chance to prove that when they go to China.
That's right. But, you know, he had to make plays because at the end of the day, Game Hunter was going to come and he was going to do his thing on Kronos, so he was trying to match up, and he tried his best, you know, and there was positions where he could have been a little bit tighter, but at the end of the day, they played well. Everyone played well here today.
Everyone did play well here today, and I think one of the most impressive things about this tournament is that North America and Europe were both in the grand finals. It shows that players from both regions are very, very skilled, and what a fantastic showing we had here this whole weekend.
And I want to go back to this last game. I mean, we're kind of talking about the tournament as a whole. Let's talk about the turning point. We're going to have a Deicide replay come on. We're going to talk about the Gulf Fury too, but we have a replay of the Deicide coming on that was just a massive play in the game. DM, you want to take us through this one too?
So this is the goal for your push. Zapman decides he's going to try to solo. He gets caught, and his team is coming. You can see them on the map, but Youngbei put so much pressure on. By the time it was over, check out Trixtank gets the double stun here. Lobster finds a ton of damage with the chain lightning, and then of course the lightning storm to clean it up. Now right here you do see a double cataclysm into the shockwave, but it was too little too late. Shadow goes down, Lobster finds a double, and even though he got a multiple hit here for the storm call, Youngbei went up in the air to ensure over in the bottom corner, the best couldn't get out just yet. He's trying to escape, and you can see them continuously rush. Nemesis, the character that probably should have been banned, escapes with a little bit of health just in the nick of time.
It's incredible that you have all these amazing players, 10 amazing top-tier worldwide players, but we're going to have to pick one MVP. I think it might be a silly question, but I want to go down the line and get you guys' opinions.
Game Hunter.
Yeah. Explain. Why? Why Game Hunter? It doesn't take any
Scream
explanation.
it. Scream it.
No. Scream it. Will never be done again. Pentakill.
Pentakill.
I have to agree. Game Hunter, without a doubt. I mean, just was a wrecking force. And, you know, we were actually talking about it before the game, trying to decide what will he play. You know, he had Ra, he had Shock, he had Vamana, and he goes for Kronos. So his pool of characters is huge, and he performs every single game. He may not always keep his tower up. Anatoly actually did a good job of taking that, but overall in team fights and his ability to know when to go into the engagement, to get to the back line, when to use his ultimate, particularly on Vamana at the appropriate timing, was unreal. It was perfect.
Yeah, and I think this is difficult to say because it's a 5v5 game. You know, TSM as a whole, they played exactly like what a team should do, you know? They played so well together, but Game Hunter ultimately was the difference maker. I said you should try to ban him out. Try to make someone else beat you. But guess what? He just picks Kronos. No one else picks Kronos. No one else even considers picking Kronos. But he does, and he destroys everyone. Just the plays that he can make, the knowledge he has of what he can and cannot do at certain times on the variety of characters, no one else has that.
And it wasn't just against Team Dignitas. It was against everyone they played.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
And what do you think TSM is going to have to do going into China, not knowing a meta? I mean, it's kind of unknown territory. Yeah. How do you think they're going to perform when they get there?
First of all, we're going to do in before 1-3-1, no jungler. We're going to see, you know...
Well, China's a show match also, right? It's not a competition.
It's always a competition.
Yeah.
For you, it's always a competition.
To them.
But that's a show match. So it's a little bit different setting than what's going on here. I think it's more about maybe the focal point should be, what does Team SoloMid need to do to keep themselves at the top, because they just showed that they are at the top, moving forward throughout the rest of the year?
Well, I think it's going to be really easy for TSM to remain at the top. You know why? Because we got an opportunity to meet these players, right? And meet their families. And I think it's important to say that these guys, QO Fred, you know, he's best friends basically with Trixtank. They grew up together and they're living the dream. They started out probably just playing video games for fun, and they're like, guess what? We can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. and they did it here, you know. And I know fathers are here, and you know relatives are here, and just they have such a good surrounding cast, you know. They love playing together, and they love just being around each other. They're just awesome people, and so I see nothing but success in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have an amazing ceremony coming up in the next few seconds. We're going to send it back down to the casters here very shortly. They are going to take you into the closing ceremony where we're going to crown our champions. Team SoloMid, give it up. Dry Baron Bart, go ahead.
DM.
Welcome back, everyone. It's been a long, long weekend, and a lot of games have been played, and a lot of talent has been shown, but Team SoloMid comes out on top.
Forever the victors, Team SoloMid. And we do just want to give you a quick kind of goodbye and say thank you for coming out and staying and spending your time with us this weekend.
Right.
For DM and all of the analysts, Trenkill, DJ Pernicus, and Lionheart, the permanent fixtures up there, all of the production staff, all of the hi-rez studios offices. Thank you, everybody that made this happen. And a special thanks, of course, to all the players.
And of course, all the fans that came out to watch the event, everyone that's here. myself, Driver, and
you.
hi-rez Bart. We're here live in Atlanta, and it was an amazing event. And of course, thanks for all the fans at home who tuned into the stream and watched both streams. Of course, we had 2 running for 2 days straight. And of course, thanks to Fats as well as Kret for holding down the other stream. All the admins and made everything run so smoothly. Thank you so much. We're going to cut it to the closing ceremony so we can see the smiling faces of the players from Europe. Team SoloMid.
Take it away to the stage.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed these games this weekend. What did you think of that last match? What did you think, Clutch?
Look how happy this guy is.
Are you talking about Reginald?
Congratulations, sir. Gentlemen, congratulations. An impeccable performance. Him and the coach were having heart attacks out there in the audience. Phenomenal gameplay, and I have to say this is an amazing first entry in the world of esports for Smite.
It's a hell of a tournament for their first gold tournament, the first time the game has gone gold, and a hell of a prize pool too. We have over $200,000 divided up among the top 4, and these guys, Team SoloMid, are going to be making an appearance in China in June at the show match.
Is it this June?
They will be representing the best in the West when it comes to Smite. Now, I believe we have some special guests we want to bring out to help us with the presentation.
We have some very special guests. Please help me welcome to the stage, hi-rez and Todd.
Oh. I don't know. Hey, can we bring the checks? Bring the checks?
Bring the checks. I think these guys are going to want to get paid. So, hi-rez, let me ask you a quick question here. You have been so involved in your community. You are known for going into these games, for playing with the fans, for talking to everybody. What do you want to say to them now?
Does this work?
Yeah, you have your own mic, I guess.
Wow. I'm still in shock. This was amazing. It was so tense. I kind of need a back rub.
You need a back rub?
Yeah.
Well, somebody, who's got you out there? Up there. How many skins is it going to cost?
Anyway, I think it's been a fantastic event. If you enjoyed it, big round of applause.
And how about you guys give them a big round of applause for providing you this amazing game, building this incredible community, and hosting this awesome tournament.
I just want to say, when you're a small independent developer in a place like Atlanta, East Coast, working on a MOBA, you know, we're not the #1 MOBA yet. But we are #3. We're number 3. No, seriously, thanks for the community. Online games are all about community, and you guys made this happen. So thanks for coming out and supporting these awesome teams. And one more hand for all 8 teams that played their hearts out on this stage.
Thank you, gentlemen. I believe we're going to start with the 4th place team for the first check.
I think we also need to add one more thank you. There's been a lot of people working backstage, behind the scenes, everywhere else to make this happen. I think they need a big round of applause as well. And the Bill, who single-handedly masterminded this event. And to our hosts and hostesses. I would also like to thank, wait, I have a list of 150 people. No, I'm done.
We ready?
I think we're ready.
The 4th place team, Proxy QQ, Badger, Reels, X, Captain Twig, NQ from SK Gaming.
be taking home over $13,000. Let's give him one more, guys. Thank you for something so far and practicing so hard to compete in this tournament. You gave us an amazing show, and you definitely deserve that cash. We'll see you again next tournament, right? Yeah, I like that confidence. All right, thank you so much, guys. Now let's bring out our third place team. That is Cognitive Gaming. On the Cognitive roster, we have Andon Sir, Dare to Care, Barracuda, MLC Stealth, and Omegatron. And that's a cool $30,000 you're gonna be walking home with.
Congratulations, gentlemen, on third place.
Can I ask you, Todd, can we know what's in the boxes? Todd, what are you giving these guys? This looks pretty cool. What are those? What are in the boxes? What's in the box?
Each player on the top teams is receiving a commemorative Smite launch tournament etched glass, the first of many future tournaments.
That's a collectible.
Very nice. In second place, Team Dignitas.
They were undefeated at LANs until today. But I know they made their team proud. I know, Odie, wherever you are, you're proud of these guys. And I know you guys enjoyed the game, so let's give them a big round of applause.
The #1 team in North America, Lazis, Shadow Q, Zapman, The Best, and Anatoly.
$52,000.
Congratulations, gentlemen. We look forward to watching your futures continue to grow in Smite.
And now, please give them a warm welcome, your champions of the Smite Launch 200K, Team SoloMid. Hugo Fred, Trixtang, Youngman, Lobster, and Game Hunter.
I have one comment to make. This is not the biggest check in esports, but it has the most different digits.
In true hi-rez style, we value being different. Congratulations to Team SoloMid. Can I talk to you here for a minute, guys? Now, you have just won the first tournament since Smite's gone gold. If you have any energy left, let me know. What are you thinking right now?
Awesome. Wonderful. Fucking amazing. Unbelievable. I'm just so relieved. I'm so relieved.
He is. He was stressing out like crazy. And you, sir?
I don't know what I'm thinking, man. It's so awesome. It's awesome.
It is so awesome. Thank you so much to Team SoloMid. I want to give you a chance. What do you want to say to the people?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all my real-life mates back home in Denmark because they've been supporting me a lot. And thank you for all the TSM fans. You're fucking awesome. And everybody just enjoy yourselves tonight, man.
Everybody enjoy. I assume first round is on you guys. No, don't promise that. It's totally fine. Congratulations, Team SoloMid. Let's give them one more huge round of applause. And it is time to claim this beautiful piece of hardware. Oh, Trix Trixtank. Trixtank, it's your birthday? What does that mean? What is the team going to do for you for your birthday?
I don't know. What are you going to do, actually? You haven't done anything yet. Oh, they've congrats me, and they gave me some hugs, so I'm glad. I'm very glad.
Birthday present. Go take it, man. It's yours.
Grab your trophy,
fingerprints
gentlemen.
all over it.
He might need some help. Gentlemen, go ahead and take center stage, raise the trophy up high, and show the world that you are the best team in Smite.
Congratulations. And we have one more, just small reward for the MVP, as chosen by the analysts and by the screaming fans. Who is it? They're calling out for Game Hunter, the MVP plaque. And a champion plaque. One more champion. And there's one more. And there's a last but not least. I think all of our players are MVPs, but I'm a little opinionated. One last round of applause. Get around that.
Well, Clutch, it's been a hell of a tournament. And we have some people to say thank you to.
We do. We especially want to thank our sponsors, Alienware, Logitech, and Internap, and to all of you for being so energetic and to supporting Smite. Thank you very much. Rachel, it's been a blast to host with you, and
Likewise.
Thank you to hi-rez. Fantastic job to all the players. Smite will continue to grow as long as hi-rez and the community support it, and we're in good hands.
Have a good night, everyone. Don't forget to go to smitegame.com and download your free copy. I'll see you guys on the battlegrounds of the gods.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good night and good game. Please enjoy our 10-cent video.